We would have liked to have done a nice show with all the transfer rumors and stuff like that, but it didn't really work out schedule-wise. So hopefully we have a chance to talk about it a bit more. X Silver, thanks for the follow. All right, enough of this. Let's get this started, shall we? What's up, fam? What is up? So today we are going to go over one match. We might not have time to do everything. For those wondering, maybe they come in thought I was doing a VOD review of the players. Obviously, what I normally do here is I do the casters. I look at the casting, primarily my casting. So that's what it is. I'm not really going to be analysing these games today from a gameplay perspective. There might be brief things that I need to bring up and mention to try and inform some of my decision making, whatever. But again, like I said, when we get in and we get started, I need you guys just to give me some feedback on how the audio is in terms of the VOD and my mic sounding. Swilco TV, thanks for the big follow. We've got a few coming in here. All right, I'm going to catch up with them. Tri-Source Filipino Superman, thank you for following all. Thank you. Big love. I'm just going to let this great song play out. Bit of Powderfinger. So yeah, that's the plan. So when we go in, just make sure that you can hear me and ideally the VOD, but hopefully you can hear me over the top of it. Tri-Source, I see you. See you out there, boys. Okay, let's drop this. Let us drop this music. Great tune, though. Yes, thank you, Spotify. Getting my VOD muted, of course. Is there a music playlist? No, I mean, I don't normally like have music on for the most part. It's just like, I kind of start listening to one thing and then I just play through and listen to a bunch of different stuff that's like related to it. I don't know how Spotify does that. What's up, Joel MCE? Thanks for the follow. You notice me looking across at this monitor because I'm looking at you when I look over here, if that makes sense, because my camera's on the screen that I'll be referring to for most of this stuff. So, let's jump in. Let's start having a look at these VODs. And we're here to talk about my casting, obviously. We're probably not going to critique Matt specifically too much. Shut up, Alexa. Hold on. Tell me what the weather is. My bad. Gamton, thanks for the sub. Oh yeah, I should say this. Don't sub because I never really stream. So if you feel inclined to sub, that's kind of you. Generally speaking, though, I stream like once in a blue moon. Usually when I'm not working. So yes, big thanks for that. Obviously you're hearing like the sound of my Twitch alerts being played twice. I don't know how to fix that. So let's just do it to it, shall we? Hey, who's that? It's your boy. It's your boy Bren. It's not me. All right, random who watches Overwatch, thanks for following. So if follows come in as we go, I'll try and call them out, but it will be maybe a little bit hard. Less than some people do SM. What do you mean? Oh, well, more you mean? Not all of us casters have the time to stream. The job is pretty intense, so if we get a chance to. Where is your star? Yeah, it's a Roo. It's a Roo, mate. All right, let's start. Let me know how the audio is, by the way, because it's probably going to be a bit out of whack to start with. All right. That's it, Bren. Tell me. Oh, I should probably tell you what this game is. This is the Houston Outlaws versus the Spitfire, I think. This is like the final day. This is the playoff. So, quick word beforehand. I wasn't... how do I put this? There were times during this season or this stage that I was really happy with my casting. And there were a lot of times where I just wasn't, to be honest with you. So yeah, I wasn't sort of over the moon about some of my casting. There are a few moments, a few games, some that I remember that I really liked. Some games had some things that were good and other things that were not so good from a personal perspective. So what we're here to do is try and address those and look at maybe how I can improve. Yeah, I'll kick the desktop up. Thank you. Hey there, fella 2. You're my favorite caster. Thank you. Thanks for the follow, McGravy. I see you, fam. I'm going to miss a few guys. I'm sorry if that happens. Anyway, let's jump in. So this is the best of 5. This is Houston Outlaws versus London Spitfire. We'll try and skip through the desk stuff, as important as it is. I'm not here to critique them necessarily. I am here to critique me.
seeing in store today.
Yeah. My boy Muma. Love it.
Looking
Okay.
purely at the
Maps. That's all good.
And if I asked them today,
Oh, I remember how I started this cast. Okay, this is gonna be funny.
They're actually very predictable.
Very
Because,
predictable.
yeah,
Very predictable.
Able to adapt.
they didn't really prep for the play.
It's going to get scuffed up, ladies and gentlemen. We got a best of 5 just to...
Okay. All right. So by the way, I opened this by saying I'm in my birthday suit, which is pretty funny. But I don't know what I think I meant to say. My Sunday best, and I said birthday. Can you mod me? Yeah, I can mod you forward. Sure thing. Is that how it works? That's how it works, right? Yeah. Turn VOD up a little. Cool. All right. Yeah. So I kind of messed that line up completely. I was supposed to say Sunday best, but I said birthday suit. Yeah, cool story, Mitch. Okay. Anyway, let's go.
Around the corner, and like Puckett said, if we do need a 6th map for whatever reason, we have a tiebreaker, Lijiang will be there. I tell you what though, it's a map pool that looks pretty darn nice for the...
So I'm obviously very animated like this. I've actually received feedback in the past to maybe not be so busy with my hands and stuff like that. It's really hard to fix though, especially if I'm excited about the game. It's super hard. Hey, Mr. Mayo, how you going? Yeah. So I'm a little bit handsy sometimes, but it's just how I do it.
Yeah, obviously the desk talked about it, but Dorado was the one map that you saw Houston drop to the London Spitfire. Ilios was not in the pool the last time Anubis and Eichenball both went over to Houston.
So Matt's giving us some good background. This is really good.
And I think, the desk talked about London not being able to adapt.
We should do an AMA. Yeah, I've been asked to do that as well. I've never done one before. Perhaps it's an idea, but
to be honest, I think just London needs to run more junk.
If you have questions as well, save them for after, guys, so I can sort of focus on this a bit more.
To answer back with a junk route to supply that damage of their own.
And it's not to say that it's beyond the capacity of this team. We just haven't seen a lot of Junkrat from London in general. It's just not something they like.
Yes, I'm bringing up the fact that obviously London weren't like a prolific Junkrat team up until sort of week 4. Well, they kind of went to like a Junkrat anti-tank kind of composition and then went back to sort of dive. So we discussed how Junkrat obviously is really effective on this map, especially on the defense, but we've seen it on offense, even on offense on very small occasions. We've even seen Hanzo on this map, I think by the shock. So we're kind of just discussing some of the possibilities we could expect to see here and all that. It's still too quiet. Thank you. Thank you. As long as you can hear me talk over it, because I don't want to pause it all the time, or we'll never get through the thing. What's going on?
To weave into a lot of their compositions.
Well, they've thrown a lot of teams off guard when they do bring Junkrat in, because a lot of the time, they will just play a straight dive with whether it's Prophet or
So this is correct. Obviously, we're talking about London's proclivity to play dive.
Playing Tracer and Prophet.
I'm not a rap god, Pesto.
They're able to do it. They're not going to.
Yeah, I'm calling out play Symmetra. I'm just having fun with the crowd. There was a sign there. In the crowd, I don't really want him to play Symmetra at all, but it's cheap thrills and it's easy cheers from the crowd, so why not? Yuko10, thanks for the follow, mate. G'day. Yeah, I'm not a rap god. Oh, what's up, Steve? Yo, Cyanide, bro, how you going, man? Long time no speak. All right, let's carry on. If that noise gets annoying, I will have to turn off that, which would kind of suck, but yeah, we'll see how we go. You talking over match. Mitchception. You know it, Cosmic Cadet. You fucking know it. Let's go.
We've gone over this. Yep, there's the switch.
So they switch. Yeah, well, he teased Symmetra at the start of every map.
Side of things. We also saw Houston get to play this.
So this is a pretty classic Houston Outlaws. Obviously, Jake's playing Junkrat. Linkser on the McCree is interesting. Maybe he doesn't want to play like the Widowmaker on this map. I would more expect a Widow from Linkser here, to be honest.
No, not this time. There's a little bit too much on the line, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sure you understand. London Spitfire may go for this dive composition, but Houston will have a bit of anti-dive.
We definitely expect it. So this is dive versus anti-dive, I guess, which is interesting.
The lack of Widowmaker on defense here from the Outlaws. Let's get it on, ladies and gentlemen. Map 1 underway.
Give Matt some room early on here just to sort of talk over what we should expect.
Maybe they feel a little bit better running the McCree instead of Widowmaker here on defense. It looks like I know.
Okay, I have to turn off the Twitch alerts. I'm sorry, guys. It's hella distracting me. It's just killing me, dude. It's killing me. I know. Thank you, guys. Thank you for the follows. I had to get rid of it, though. Soz. You can see it down at the bottom. But it's hella distracting me. Which is great. It's great that so many people are following this. That's awesome. I really appreciate it. But anyway.
Cool Matt was on the payload for a quick second, just contesting it for a little bit, and then it's going to back up. Going to play behind the Orisa barrier.
Houston very willing to give that high ground up. You see the little tea party.
You see that just Houston are backing away here, which is not surprising, perhaps. But this is really interesting, right? The fact that they use Cool Matt here, actually, a lot of teams don't do this. They actually use this D.Va and let, obviously, you know, you've got a bit of mobility as D.Va, and you can. Am I still hearing that shit? God damn it! I don't know where it's coming from. I don't know where it's coming from. Oh. Maybe I have to turn it off. Oh, wait a minute. I think I know why. Because it's on my other scenes. That's a feels badman. Alright. It's all gonna go. That's why. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, guys. Work in progress. Anyway. Where were we? So yeah, I'm sorry. They use Cool Matt as like, I guess he's scouting. Like he's not really trying to get any kills here at all. I just find it's really interesting that teams actually like, and he actually goes around the backside. He does all the scouting. So Houston are a team that really care a lot about getting information early, even though it might seem kind of obvious where London is set up here. The fact they use Cool Matt to do this, because obviously he can boost away. Most times he's able to boost away. It's really interesting. Yeah, I know. I have to do it on Streamlabs. It's fine, Elfish. Good to see you, man. Anyway.
And on point right now, getting a bit of information, radioing back the position of flankers such as Tracer, but I don't think they noticed properly.
So I got switched very quickly. I got dropped into this profit clip, right? So I was sort of talking about Cool Matt, and now I have to make a switch now over to discussing what we're seeing here. Obviously, this is the engagement happening, right? We've gone from, you know, sort of watching Cool Matt out towards the side, and I couldn't see Profit dropping in here, so I had to very quickly switch to calling this.
He might have gotten through their net of spies, and it looks like all Rockers was low. Profit gets the finish with the D-suit there.
Notice there I UC might have gotten through their net of spies, because I still try and tie it into what I previously mentioned in that obviously Cool Matt is out there to do some reconnaissance work, to get some information. So
Cool Matt, Profit now looking for his next target as Muma puts a new barrier up.
Really good start for...
I'm happy to throw it off mid-fight to Matt here, because the engagement sort of occurred. It might be a little bit of poking now. Matt can handle the play-by-play if it needs to happen. He's quite competent. So as time's gone on with Matt, I've just sort of given him a little bit more of that airtime, because I just trust him a lot more. I just know that, you know, a lot of the stuff that I would say analytically, he would already be, you know, in a position to say. It's not like I have to say things, otherwise they're not going to be said. So something that is really important with your co-caster is developing that sense of trust and knowing that, because when I first started, I did it all. I did analysis, I did play-by-play. I was super overbearing. It was just all me all the time, because I didn't believe that Matt would bring up some of the points that I felt were really important to do. And I think, like, you have a duty as a caster to, you know, make sure you deliver the information that needs to be delivered. But Matt, for a long time, has been able to do that quite consistently. So, you know, it took a while of me just developing a sense of comfort, I guess, where I could allow him just to step in at any moment, and I know that he would cover it, you know, from an analytical perspective at least as well as I would.
The London Spitfire, it'll be Bonnie using the res, bring Raucus back up, so you still have Cool.
And of course, there's a lot of this, right? So you're going to hear this discussed. I know you can't see the whole kill feed, but reses obviously make this a little bit difficult to keep a flow when you cast. So you always, you know, when a fight starts, you kind of know every fight there's going to be some resurrection. If you know the mercies of ultimates coming to the fight, like this, for example, we know that if this fight were to go sideways for London, there's probably going to be two reses. Like, it's pretty hard for them to lose a fight at this stage, especially because your boy over here is demeched. So as a caster, I'm reading this all the time. So my eyes go from, you know, like, they look at the player screen I'm on, so I know exactly who I'm watching. Obviously, you can sort of see it from this. And then we're up to here, to his team, to see, like, where they're situated. I'll try and pick out the positions of the enemy players here, and then obviously check the other teams. So you're looking for those ultimates here, because that's going to develop into your story. Like, I know Houston don't have an ultimate this fight. Maybe Jake, because Junket's broken, might have a Riptide, but I sort of doubt it. So I'm looking over here. They've just lost Birdring, obviously, the Tracer. So, yeah. Thanks for the bits, Pesto. Cheers, mate. Appreciate it. Anyway, so let's carry on. But then bear in mind that there's like a hierarchy of what I'm looking at here in terms of importance. You can see my little cursor here. So it's like this. We're checking the ultimate percentage, and then we're up here. I only look at this if it's a Tracer. Really. Maybe I could look at it more for some heroes, like a McCree Flashbang, but I'm most interested in the recall status. I'm most interested in if Tracer has a recall available, and I'll often try and call that out, because obviously forcing a Tracer's recall is a really big deal, and it just completely changes the way the Tracer has to play when they don't have that available.
Matt demeched here. The payload has made significant progress. Now Cool Matt's in a position to hide behind his shield, but they have to deal with...
So, like, normally here, I'm like, oh, I mean, I threw it to Matt, right? So it's like, I can't throw it to Matt and then have him talk for 3 seconds and throw it back to me, because I know we can do the play-by-play, but I know right now I'm getting a bit antsy. I'm like, oh, this fight's still going, and it's a 5v5, and a Valkyrie's been popped after Bedosin's died, so I kind of want this back, like a part of me, but again, this is about casting, like, you need to let it go. So we'll see if I get it back in this fight, but if I don't, it's not a big deal, because Matt, it's not worth Matt cutting off his point there just to let me fucking yell.
Profit. Now, Profit now looking to, again, strike.
Okay, so he threw it back to me. So he's, yeah, see, that's what I mean. Like, the guy's just super good at his job. He's understated. He's not as in your face and over the top as I am. And I feel like some people, I don't know why people don't rate him, because I think he's one of the best analysts we have. Thank you for the Kappa bits. I don't know what they are, Darth, but thank you anyway. You seriously streaming at work? Yeah, sorry, Guppy. What do you mean you're at work, mate? It's 8 p.m. It's prime time. Matt is the straight man in the comedy duo. He's actually quite funny, to be honest with you, but his humor is, yeah, different. But yeah, like people, I feel like people rate casters in Overwatch sometimes, but just by like how overbearing they are, like how much airtime they steal and how much shade they throw and stuff. It's like, this is not how casters rate other casters, by the way. We recognize things like me yelling a lot or talking really fast or Monty slaying people or whatever. We recognize these things as tools that casters use to, you know, give that sense of personality, but we don't look at them and go, he's a good caster, because, you know, it's dumb. If I hear a caster talking too much, I'm just like, ah. Like me, by the way, when I review myself, sometimes I'm like, fucking stop talking, Mitch, for God's sake. You gotta trust your co-caster. Sup, Mushu B. Serenity with a big sub. Thank you. Don't sub. There's no need to sub. I appreciate it, though. Thank you. It's not awkward because me and Matt hang out all the time. He's got like a you know, a fiance and a dog, and, you know, he's got his own life, but we kind of just hang out all the time and just talk about the game. We're good friends. We're super different. Our senses of humor is super different. But we drive to work together every day. We hang out. You know, we do things together because our schedule is sort of the only ones that sort of line up, really. But we have very different hobbies, right? You know, Matt really loves playing Overwatch and, you know, plays WoW and all that sort of stuff. And I actually don't get as much time as I'd like to play right now. I go to the gym. You know, I paint tabletop miniatures. I do stuff with Dora. I play Magic the Gathering. So we have a lot of things that we sort of don't do together, but we have a respect for each other and an understanding. So anyway, let's get on. What's up, Dogman? It's Dogman. What's up, bro? Welcome.
The killing blow on many of these targets are low health, but it's not going to work. Jake pursues him there, and it's a concussive mind to send him packing. Followed up with a Riptire. Why not? And Jake finds 2 kills to highlight the end of the fight. That'll be it.
Sorry, I said that'll be it. So that's me. I'm done. Do I do D&D? I've done D&D before. I've done D&D before. But I'd like to. I love that stuff. I just haven't really got around it. Right, let's go a little bit deeper. Let's try and go a little bit deeper. And enough about the outside stuff. But.
And Nuss ends up using his Valkyrie in that fight, so it'll be...
So Matt points out that the Valkyrie's been used, which is super important because Banny has his. So one thing we'll often do as casters is not necessarily just talk about ultimates, but talk about, like, you know, 2 mercies. This last meta, especially, like, Valkyrie obviously is just so broken. So, well, it was anyway. So that's important that he highlights that.
Fight that the London Spitfire lose when they use their Valkyrie. That'll give the support ultimate advantage over to the Houston Outlaws. And Jake with the Riptire is going to be able to build up to it rather quickly, as Bonnie will have Valkyrie, Raucus will have Transcendent.
So is it important to talk about Jake's Riptire here? Not really. I mean, he just mentions it, obviously. And he's just talking about, we're setting up. We've got to set up this next fight, right? So I saw this on Reddit the other day. Someone was saying that, like, we don't spend enough... No, someone tweeted at me, I think. We don't spend enough time setting up fights and sort of try and talk through them. But we don't have much time. Matt knows he's on the clock, big time. So what he's trying to do now is set expectations for the fight, set a projected result, or at least some interactions that we should expect to encounter, and a lot of that is based on the ultimate percentage. So it might seem like some casters are, you know, spend a lot of time talking about ultimate percentage, but this game is half MOBA. It's very important. All right.
You also have Linkser with a Deadeye.
Gesture. That's not really important. He just walks up, but.
Ooh, to zone some of these players out.
Not what Gesture would have liked, I don't think. He'll have to go the long way around. And notice how the Outlaws are using Cool Matt there. They're using him to go forward and you know, peek and get information and work over the sides.
So I bring the Cool Matt thing up again because I can, and because as a result, he's peeking this corner. right? He's the only one peeking, because especially if you're playing against a Widowmaker, you can't peek for information against that. So Houston they probably just adapted to playing this way, maybe because of that. They've obviously got an Orisa shield, right? But so Coolmat's the one just peeking. These guys are going to maintain their setup here. Muma might have to reset his shield and put one over here. But this little thing here is important, so I kind of refer to it again.
Of these walls, just to give a bit of early warning to the Outlaws.
Oh, do I have the wrong game set? Surely not. Does it say Total War Warhammer? Surely not. Surely I've not done that. Have I done that? That'd be pretty funny. That would be pretty dumb as well. Classic Mitch maneuver. No. Okay, never mind. We good.
In a cool match, just kind of searching for information here, and Muma's just playing on the card to pretend.
So you see, straight away, like, London know that there's a McCree here, right? So they just fucking pressure him straight. Like, you see how they can circumvent. This is the problem with Orisa on this map, I guess, against dive teams. You can avoid Jake's positioning. Jake's inside here, by the way. He's inside this building over here, so you have to come back and deal with this. But you can get a fairly easy early pick here. Gesture takes the bulk of the damage, but knows he can dive aggressively because he has Primal Rage, and so he can keep going. But yeah, so Matt is still talking right now. Again, he might have to throw it back to me pretty quickly. We'll see.
Pretended so they can't move. As you see, Links are.
This could be bad.
Oh, and this is not going to be good.
What? Could
So I chime in there, but this could be bad because things are going sideways. And he throws it back. He knows that. I mean, I come into the fight, so you can't see. I come into the fight after all these kills have happened. I know you can't see them. So, you know, we'll see what I can do with this.
for a London Spitfire fan, that's for sure. Birdring goes in, pulse bomb at 10.
That's right. So what I had to say there very quickly, I'm not biased. Like, between these two teams, I don't really have like a team that I think is going to be better or whatever. But I'm just going to rewind briefly. But I did say like this could be bad, and as a caster, you probably should qualify that a little bit. Yeah, it's not bad for me. I don't give a shit who wins. You know, like, I mean, I might have like teams that I like, but you know, as a caster, I'm interested in seeing good games. So I said, oh, thanks for the salty bits. Fucking pissed. Thank you. I don't know what they do. I have no idea what they do, but thank you anyway. Anyway, so I'm just making sure that I had to make it clear that it was bad if you're a London fan, I think is what I was saying, or God knows what.
This could be bad.
Oh, and this is not going to be good.
What? Could be for a London Spitfire
I said good if you're a London Spitfire fan, right? So, yeah, make that clear.
fan, that's for sure. Birdring goes in, pulse bomb attempted here. It's going to be proper to fall down. Jake now is still in position, but the rest of the Outlaws have kind of been shunted away from the payload. It's Banny and Jake trying to stay alive. Jess is very low, having to back up for a little bit.
So I refer to Gesture there because he's on camera. So I've been served up this footage by the observers. So I'm gonna stick with it right now because Gesture would be the player that starts the second engage or the counter engage once the Outlaws push back in. So it's good that we're watching him.
Birdring has seen better days. I'll be honest with you, Matt. Cormat's back on the point now with Bedos going down. Cormat sustained through a lot of this damage, and Raucus giving him that harmony orb. He's able to stand up and do a lot of stalling here.
So that's big because Muma just arrived. He's obviously switched to the Winston now because they're realizing the Orisa is just not working. But the Harmony Orb on Muma was pretty good. How much would I like to be able to control what I see? I don't want to control what I see because I can't cast properly then. You can't observe and cast like really well. It's very, very hard to do. ZP was decent at it, but he also couldn't do a lot of third-person flyover stuff. He had to just sort of switch between first-person perspectives. People talk about the Overwatch monthly melees like that were the golden age of observing. I'll be honest with you. I like ZP. He's very, very good at what he does. It was not the golden age of observing. Especially because I never knew what he was showing the viewers. When I was casting with ZP, I didn't know what he was showing them when I was talking. I want an observer to observe. What's your opinion on how the observers handle storylines, what they're showing? It's fine. So, I see it on Reddit every day, right? I probably make like, on an average day of casting, I'll probably make like 20 odd fuck-ups, in my opinion. Things that I'm not happy about. But no one ever mentions it. I feel like I get like a lot of leeway there as well. I say things wrong all the time, I just do. Obviously, observing is much more central to the experience of the broadcast, but I was talking to Monty about this the other day, and people saying like, "Oh, the Apex guys were so good, you know, it's just so much better." Talking to Monty's like, "Well, I don't really agree. I casted Apex, and I think they had some good stuff, some good setups on scenes, but I don't think they were just so much better or so amazing." If you get if you get observing that is jumping between things, right? A lot, like we're catching all the pulse pods, we're catching all the big odds, we're catching all these things, then to cast that in a coherent way when we're trying to, because it's not just observers trying to create a storyline, it's casters are trying to create a storyline, right? So if I just get like, jumping between traces on both teams and zooming around the map and going between all the possibles, that's great for me. I'm a fucking play-by-play caster. I'll just yell. But what we're seeing here now is that like we're focusing on the tanks for the Spitfire, and yeah, we should be on the attacking team generally speaking. And as BZ produced some data and showed that attacking teams are being observed much more, it's because that's where the initiation comes from most times, especially in a meta that includes Mercy, right? There's not much incentive for defensive teams to play aggressive unless you're the Boston Uprising and you kind of just prefer to play that way. So this, I don't really know. I don't really know why Reddit objects so much to this. And I read over the thread sometimes, and it's always like they didn't show this play. They didn't show the pulse bomb that I wanted to see. And I sit there and I go, okay, you've got 12 players. You've got well, the people that want to see everything and don't care about the casting. That's fine, but that's not how this works. That's not how this production works, Welsh Grey. I understand if you don't care about the casting, and I respect that. You can mute it the VOD, but the observing and casting is supposed to work in tandem. And it's not just so the casters have a coherent story, it's so there is a coherent story. You're not going to get to see everything. And even if you're jumping around every second, you're still not going to see everything. This game is ridiculous. I stole this from Ryan Central, I think, when I say that this game is like catching a waterfall with a spoon. So I read Reddit, and there's some reasonable criticism, right, about the observing. And sometimes I'm casting, and I say to myself, the observing, I didn't feel great. Like, I feel like my casting definitely can be affected by observing that's not on point. But I've got the director I've got Alchemist comes into the casting booth at halftime, and we talk about it. We talk about how to work with each other a bit better. We talk about how to really package this up coherently. People want to. I get it. People want to see everything, and I get it. There have been flubs in observing, just as there have been flubs in casting, as in analyzing, as in production overall. I really do get it. But people do have rose-tinted glasses about like the tier 2 scene before Overwatch League. And I think part of it is because a lot of people like other people to know that they've been watching Overwatch since then. Like, a lot of people come up and say like, oh, ZP and Hex, that was the golden age, that was the best casting ever. But by the way, I think they were an excellent duo. They were very, very good. I think both of them excellent in their own right. But this is not where we are anymore. I was part of that scene. It's not as if I don't miss some parts about getting on my PC, casting, at my desk till 6 a.m. in the morning in Germany and the sun's rising. But that's not what we have anymore. Do I think the observers have room for improvement? Yes. Do I think they want to improve? Absolutely. Do I think they're showing improvement? Yes. But if we're jumping around the map, it's fucking the casters up really badly. So little things they're working on, and it's tough. The job is harder than ours. They sit in that room. It's either cold or really hot. Not that it matters, but it's a tough job. There's a large team of them. A lot of communication needs to be done, and it's stressful for them. I catch up with them after the day, and I go, "How do you go?" And they're always so hard on themselves about all these things. I'm like, "Look, I can't see too much of the comments right now because I'm obviously dictating to you guys, but people are hard on them, and they get a lot of threads every day. And you know what? That's fine because this is the job. But it's tough to read these threads, and really, it's tough because sometimes it's not always good examples. Like, I like a feedback thread where there's like examples of things that they aren't doing, instead of like someone going, "This observing is fucking terrible. I want Apex back. I want your ZP and Overwatch Monthly Melee was better than this crap." So, come on, like, if there's something like, "Hey, there was this really important pulse bomb that went off, and you were watching a diva at this time, or you're spending too much time on DPS." Okay, it's fine. I get it. It's not perfect, right? But it helps casters to have a solid flow of observing. People want to shit on observers, which is fine. And they fucking read that. Of course they read that. We all fucking read Reddit. The only people that don't read Reddit are the people that are very experienced and self-secure and know they're doing a good job. And of course people care about our viewers because you as much as we are the Overwatch League. We're all in this together. This is just something, we all have a stake in this working out. And we all want to be better. And sometimes, after 9 hours in the observing booth, to get out, and Jason Baker looks at his phone and sees someone call him a fucking monkey, then yeah, he's going to get pissed off. And people shit on Harsher so hard. People shit on Puckett so hard because they spoke out against people that were like drilling these observers. Ask yourself this. If professionals that are working in, around, and on the broadcast are speaking out at saying the criticism that the observers are receiving is too harsh, it could be one of two things. One, it could be nepotism and bias because they're friends. To a degree, that does exist. Secondly, it also comes from an understanding of how difficult and involved the process is. It's hard to get right. And no, I don't think, just as I don't think my casting this season has been where I wanted it to be, I'm sure the observers would love more from themselves as well. But I see it every single day. Every single day it's a thread. And we want to go to Reddit to see what people want to see. But it's just like, what do you want? What do you guys actually want? Because every second comment wants something different. You know, we can't help you guys. We can't give you all what you want because there are 12 perspectives plus, you know, map camera plus top down, all that sort of stuff. We want to make the best show possible. No one's out there, you know, pulling their own dick and you know, being all egotistical about thinking they got the right answer. None of the casters, none of the observers, none of the broadcast staff at all. But like, what do you really want? Imagine is an observer. He is an excellent observer. So let's jump in. I didn't see most of the chat, guys. Sorry. When I get my tirade on, it's tough to interact at the same time, but I'm seeing it there. But yeah, everyone wants something different. So let's carry on. Yeah, give Imagine some love, by the way. Those guys are the stars of this show. Honestly, couldn't have this without them. Got a lot of time for them. Let's jump on in. Canton. Well, Imagine guess you're a sub, bro. What are you gonna do now? I'm gonna give you so much shit at work for that, bro. Okay, let's go. Come on, let's go.
Now movers back.
Yeah, and Coolmat has a self-destruct. It'll be Huyal with his self-destruct, sends it into the back line.
Nothing.
Doesn't connect with anything. It'll be Nuss using his Valkyrie, bringing Huyal back up. His gesture falls at the hands of Jake, and that'll be a Riptire.
Yep, everyone's going to back away from this one. At least a disengage, at most a complete fight finish. But Huyal is supposed to come back in. He wants to tank out that tire. He's going to get picked up as a result here. The spin.
I don't think that Huyal was trying to take out that tire. I'm not really sure. Maybe, yeah, I don't know what I was really saying there. Let's go back a bit and review that properly.
A complete fight finish. But
no, he wasn't trying to take the tire out. I'm not sure what he was looking to do there. Let's go back a little bit further.
Backline, nothing. Doesn't connect with anything. It'll be Nuss using his Valkyrie.
We all got res
back up.
and resuits.
Gesture falls at the hands of Jake, and that'll be a
I see the issue. So the fight's not... The fight is over if you're watching Prophet's perspective because he's getting the fuck out of dodge, but Huyal gets resuited because they've expended a resurrect on this fight, right? So there's, you know, Huyal's like, they used a Valkyrie here, so it's like you want to try and, you know, consolidate behind that and work in. So, okay.
Tire.
yep, everyone's going to back away from this one. At least a disengage.
Yeah, see, Nuss is actually in the backline still. I think he just res gesture. So there's a little bit of confusion for the Spitfire about maybe whether the fight's over or not. And they're thinking, because we've used Valkyrie, it's a high value ultimate, so we need to try and build in behind this. But they're split. Nuss is over here in the bottom. So. I gotta go, but I hear you focusing more on emphasizing keywords to make your casting more focused. Was this intentional? I'm not quite sure. Not quite sure, issue. It's tough, man. Like I'm just starting to unpack my casting from stage 1 now, and we're gonna be back on Wednesday. So, yeah, not sure.
At most a complete fight finish, but Huyal is supposed to come back in. He wants to tank out that tire. He's going to get picked up as a result here.
So the fight is still going because Prophet's back and has a G-Blade and have a Transcendence to put him behind that. So, okay, they just got split for a moment.
Minimal progress right now. The Outlaws holding shot, but it's a dragon blade from Prophet. There could be something here, but no.
Nah, they've got about Trans too.
Prophet can't get anything done. Too much healing. He's still desperately trying to cut through Bunny, but he's just not getting there. And now Birdring the fall of Jake once again. The Junkrat causing so many woes for the Spitfire.
And it's the same thing we saw Raucus do against Boston in their previous series of the day. He was just holding on to that Transcendence for when Dreamcaster popped the blade, and he was able to get no value out of it. Birdring switches from Tracer.
So that's nice. Matt uses a previous example of Raucus's play against Boston earlier in the day. Because obviously if you're Houston, you know going up against Boston that one of their main threats is going to be Dream Casper. So Raucus has much more emphasis on him timing that Transcendence really well. So it's kind of cool that we carry this over a little bit more. Because the story was the Spitfire are fighting. Prophet has the Dragon Blade. We're staying on board with Prophet as he goes in. And there's 2 Transcendences being used in the fight. The story continues because Matt cleverly, recalls our casting from the previous game where Raucus was so instrumental. And again, we're highlighting now a common theme or something that a trend. We love trends as casters. We love when things happen the way they happened before. We love repeatability and being able to identify like a rhythm or a pattern in play.
A Widowmaker and try and just get it.
You could be right, Ghost Gaming. It could be Diva Bait. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say. It's a little bit tricky to say.
Pick out range because he knows they're not going to have a shield on the other side because Muma has switched off of Ariso, goes over to Winston.
Jake chewing away like a cow to pasture.
Jake's got chewing gum in his mouth, so when we have stuff up like this, like I kind of want to use it a bit. So yeah, as a caster, you kind of use all the tools at your disposal, and there's a bit of flavor, there's a bit of personality here. We got player cams, that's nice. So I'll talk about Jake chewing on his gum. Take it easy, Steve. Yeah, I'm down for beers, mate. Next time I'm in Adelaide, I got to check out the new studio too. Okay, so yeah, just trying to make use of that.
Helping his confidence and concentration because now it's 24 seconds left, so they can build up Valkyrie.
So you see, I make sure I call out when we're getting close. You hear the music. I will always tell the viewer that we're one fight away, or how much time is left, because the stakes now just went from they're just fighting to holy shit, the Spitfire have one more fight. And they don't really have a lot of ultimates to work with. So, the suspense for music comes into the game. And we're building off that as well because we're saying it's go time. And now that's where we want the viewer to be watching that. Are casters seeing the exact stuff viewers are seeing or a bit more? We have this screen you see right now is what I get. I usually use this. We call this program, right? This is program, which means what's going out to the stream. We have a second monitor, which is permanently a top-down map view, the one you've seen sometimes get flashed into the broadcast. So Matt and Monty use that quite a bit because it's important for them to be able to see positioning. Right now, Matt's looking at the map because he's seeing if there's any flank set up from the Spitfire. He's seeing whatever else is going on. And we also have a screen for stats as well. We have some stats, which is still proprietary. And obviously, yes, there's no stats on the website. I believe that's going to be available soon, but it's only for use by casters right now. And it's still in its infancy. It's not fully built out, it's just a reference that we have. So the desk has a few different views, but yeah, we have 2 screens and a stat screen. That's why you sometimes hear us say like, oh, Jake's done 30% of his team's damage so far, or something like that. We're still learning how to tie those stats in. Have you guys been involved in the observer discussions that Nanza said were going to happen between stages? I think people misunderstood that. An observer summit, I believe, was for the current Overwatch League observer team to work with the Tesper and the Contenders observer team, and all to sort of, I don't know if it was necessarily I don't believe it was our observers getting trained, who trains the trainers, so to speak. But I haven't been involved in that discussion. I'm gonna go to Irvine on early next week before the season starts, and we're gonna meet with Team 4, and we're gonna try and get some stuff sorted as well. So we do catch up with them every now and then. Okay. Would you mind putting the face cam on the left side so we could see the kill feed? Yes, I can do that. It's going to take me a little bit though, so just bear with me because I have to... It's kind of complicated. I have to edit the whole overlay. I can't do it live, unfortunately, because this is a screen capture. I need to... If I have a break midway through Pro Rice Cook, I'll try and do it for you. It's a bit complicated because it's an overlay hosted on a website, not inside OBS.
Very quick here, London. Jester could use the Primal Rage, take a ton of damage. Nusk can just pocket him on through.
So again, Matt's got that intensity. We're building that intensity now. And he's saying, what is available to the Spitfire? What can they bring into this fight that can give them the edge? I won't spoil the result for you, but so he's talking about the Primal Rage is important because Jester obviously needs to get in. Notice the switch here, right? Birdring. 900 IQ plays, knows that there's no Orisa here for Muma anymore. Okay? Jake is an easy target. Like, Jake knows he now needs to stay inside if he knows there's a Widowmaker present, which he should, because she's up there, and that should have been called. So, there's a lot on the line in this fight. Flip the stream in Kappa. Yeah, there you go. So, thanks, Imagine, for clearing that up. Okay.
And you may get another Valkyrie here.
Birdring to the Widowmaker here. He needs to get an early pick. He must open this fight up, or the Outlaws are going to be able to stand tall. All links are down early. Binosun was
fucking hell.
I don't think Bunny can get to him. Boomer following here.
So there is some prime bed shitting going on. Lynx is obviously standing here by the statue, so he probably just gets picked off by Binosun from under here, and then Muma gets shot up a bunch by Birdring. So Muma's not coming back either, because Banny doesn't have Valk. So this is obviously bad. Early picks, right? Who's going to give you the picks? I know you can't see the kill feed. Yeah, that's really annoying, right? Okay, I'll fix it. Alright, just give me a sec. Just bear with me here. I need to change a few things around. I understand it's a bit annoying, so I'll fix it for you guys. Real quick. Just have to go onto this website and do it, so bear with me. You can be stuck looking at my face for a bit. No, I want to move. Okay, we're getting there. We're making progress. Where's a good place to put it? Maybe down the bottom left, like you said. And now I need to move my camera. So, haha! Get over there. There you go. Now you can see the kill feed. Sorry that took so long. But hopefully now we can see stuff. That wasn't as bad as I thought. That was pretty easy. Alrighty. Cool. So my point was that there were the picks, right? Those picks did happen in that fight, which had just at the start of that fight. Let's go back and I'll tell you why I said what I said.
Birdring to the Widowmaker here.
Birdring switching to the Widowmaker. I pointed that out.
He needs to get an early pick.
Needs to get that early pick. So already establishing some of the requirements. When are we back at work? Well, technically Tuesday, but Wednesday we're back with the starter stage 2. So it's all happening.
Must open this fight up, or the Outlaws are going to be able to stand tall.
But it's actually Binosun that gets the first pick. I mean, sometimes that happens, right? Like, the Zens at this level are just so good that you can't really count them out. But that's huge. Tracer's down, which means there's no pressure right now on Birdring whatsoever. So your boy's just going to start popping off now because he knows that there's no one that can actually get close to him. Muma won't do that because, like, he probably needs to stick with his team. Maybe Coolmat tries to get aggressive on him, but you can sort of see Muma actually jumps back in. He actually jumps back to his team.
Binosun was actually the one to find that one. I don't think Bunny can get to him.
Muma just died in midair over here.
He's back in the fight, but Bunny now is removed. He's punished for his arrogance to think he can even go for the resurrect. But you know, Coolmat, he's left upon Birdring to remove him now. Overtime has begun. Coolmat with the Bunny Blaster trying to work down Nuss, but he wasn't able to find the kill. Primal Rage for Jester now. Jake trying to back away, but he's getting shunted up against the wall. And the Spitfire may have found some momentum here. Yeah.
I don't like shunted. I've used shunted a couple times in this broadcast. I guess it's like someone said this the other day as well. Like, I said this actually. People are going to get burnt out on my casting because I say so many words that if I don't try and find some different adjectives or different ways of describing things, it might get a bit bland. I try and avoid that. I have a list of some words that I use and I sort of color code them sometimes. Like red, don't use them anymore. Green, I haven't used them. And yellow, like just be careful or be sparing. I have like a page of them that I sort of refer to at the end of the day to try and keep track of things. Because if anyone's going to get burnt out on a caster, it's going to be me because I'm just in your face and I fucking don't give you a moment to breathe and I'm just fucking like this the whole time. So I know what I'm like. I know what I'm like to hear. Trust me, I've fucking got to listen to myself half the time anyway. So let's carry on. Wall art would be good, but see, Pesto, I've used that one before. I've said, I said on the same day, I think I said, talked about a Widowmaker saying, if you give this guy space, he can do so much with it. He's like an interior designer, only the macabre kind. You know what I mean? So like, I've used Grizzly Mural before as well. You know, Grizzly Mural on the wall. So I've used like a lot of these phrases before. It's like, fuck, you know, I've got to read some more books. You know, I mean, this is actually how I do it. I read a lot of books, and well, I read a lot of books, so that's where I got a lot of these lines or these phrases from. But again, sometimes you just use so many that you just run out of them, and you got to use them again. Eating the plaster is good. Yeah.
And Luma's just trying to knock players off of the payload here for the Houston Outlaws. There's just too many players for the London Spitfire still up. Bonnie comes back here to try and heal him up.
He's being chased by Prophet. Pulse bomb was dropped, but Bunny avoids it now. He's
So you see, I jump in there. I jump in because I'm like, this is... perhaps it wasn't to my liking, the flow of the fight. I handed it over to Matt. So let's listen to... Let's go back, because this is really important. Again, I'm at the point now where I'm trusting Matt, but I'm throwing it to him in these big fights. I definitely want to be in a position where I can go off if I need to really add that feel, that excitement to the cast. Yeah. But so let's see how we'd like throw between us. I'll go back a little bit more.
For the London Spitfire still up. Bonnie comes back here to try and heal him up.
He's being chased by Prophet. Pulse bomb was dropped, but Bunny avoids it now. He's able to keep Muma healed up. Muma stays on the payload for now. Another reinforcements are here. But Birdring shutting them down. Oh, that's 2 already. That is nasty stuff. And in the
So
nick of time,
spicy.
the Spitfire get it done off the back of some nice finesse from Birdring.
Yeah, see, I was searching for a phrase. I said, like, the Outlaws get it done. No, the Spitfire get it done off the back of shit. Well, I just saw Birdring. I said some nice finesse, which is honestly doesn't really make any sense. So, and it's really easy. Like, and Pesto is kind of like my undercover provider of things to say. Sometimes he gives me some funny lines every now and then. But it's easy to sit here and talk about them. But I never used Murder on the Orient Express for a Shanghai vs Korean Juggernaut game. That's true, because after the first one, the Seoul game, people. I had to do a little bit of introspection because I was a little bit hard on Shanghai. A little bit, not too hard. But people were like saying like, oh, Uber doesn't really sound interested, at that Shanghai getting so close. And I thought, well, that's strange. And I went back and listened to it, and I realized that it wasn't a very good game of Overwatch. I mean, Shanghai did really well to get 2 maps, but it was really scrappy play. And all the fights were kind of one-sided either way. It wasn't like these individual huge clutch moments. And I thought about it, and I thought, well, I guess that's just me. It's a little bit difficult when the quality of game, it doesn't matter who's playing, but when the quality of game is weird or disjointed. I tweeted, I said it was weird. It wasn't a good cast for me. I really wasn't happy with that at all. But so I didn't use Murder on the Orient Express because I already did a terrible David Attenborough impression at the start of that game to sort of imply that the dragons were kind of lemmings as opposed to the tigers, and it didn't go off that well. It didn't come off the tongue the way I would have liked it to. So I thought I'd just try and steer away a little bit from that. But I could have used it, I just didn't. What do I think of the High Noon podcast Discord text chat that collects all of your puns and one-liners? I love it, actually. I think it's really cool. I don't remember half the shit I say. Sometimes I just don't remember at all. Sometimes I don't even remember the games I cast. Because I guess I'm just recycling information and bringing in new information all the time. So it's really nice to go back there and just like see some of the stuff I said. It's not really like an ego boost so much as it's kind of nice at the end of the day to... I'm really hard on myself. I'm really hard on myself as a caster. People might think I'm super humble, I guess, with the way I talk sometimes, but I'm not humble, I'm just hard on myself. So when I say, like, I don't think I did well, it's not like I'm trying to, like, dumb myself down. It's like I'm really fucking pissed off at my performance. So it's kind of nice to go back and review some of the good things that I did and go, you know what, Mitch, like, you should be here, and you did a good job, and, this was good, or this worked well, or whatever. So I appreciate the guys putting that together for me. Hopefully, maybe we'll get a cool montage one day of just dumb shit that I've said. But yeah. Should we have been able to tell that Seoul was going downhill from that game? Yes, Pesto, I think so. I didn't want to tweet it. I didn't want to tweet that Seoul played like garbage because people would think that I was trying to... people would think that I would maybe been trying to diminish what Shanghai had achieved by winning 2 maps against them. And I don't always give a shit what people think, but like when you read Reddit and when you see what people say, like you can't just dismiss it and be like, oh, it's just Reddit analysis, like, fuck, what are these guys? No, you do have to look for a grain of truth and see if it's rooted in a reasonable objection. And this is what I try and do. This is like a thought exercise I have. If I see feedback, negative feedback specifically, I ask myself, okay, well, I don't agree with this, but let's try and take my ego out of the situation and look inside and go, is this a reasonable objection in general, or could I squeeze this into being a reasonable... Is there actually something that I can identify about myself that actually is not conducive to like a really quality product? So, yes. Uber, but I'd say take the Monty route, embrace the hate. Well, I don't really care about like people that don't like my casting, but I kind of, I don't know. I kind of want people to know what I'm about sometimes. You know, when people say like, there's a thread like Uber uses way too many idioms in his casting, and I actually posted a wall of text in that thread, and I just said, look, this is kind of who I am. This is what I do. Like, I wanted to explain a little bit about myself as to why this is the case. I didn't say I wasn't going to do it anymore. I said you should expect more of this, but I wanted to maybe give some context as to why, because I think the context is really important in helping people understand or even appreciate why I do what I do. Anyway, let's go. We've been in here for an hour already, and I've gone through 15 minutes, 10 minutes of footage. Oh.
Easy for
Thank you, word sentence. Appreciate it.
the London Spitfire. They barely get point A taken. So now they'll advance through the map. Nuss towards the end there switches off. Now tries to get to Doomfist, get back towards the point, so you'll reset the ultimate. No percentage on the Mercy. Linkser will now play Widowmaker to try and counter bird rate.
So you see this, like, there's a zoom out, there's a diva boosting, and then we're topped out here, which I love this. This is great. If you're ever not sure about this, you see circles close to each other, the smaller the circle is, the lower the elevation of that person. Uber shouts, during the team voice comm segments, it seemed like most of the time the casters say they're going to the view of the comms, it seems to be the opposite team. Is it a problem of miscommunication between different broadcast teams? Yeah, it is. It usually is. So I get told we're going to go to a certain team, and it's not that team. It's just maybe there's a mix-up in the production booth or something like that. I think we'll see a lot less of that as time goes on, but I admit it did happen a few too many times. But that happens. This is the playoff series. This is the playoff series. Second last game of stage 1.
With that high ground advantage as we move into the second portion of the map.
I love how much confidence the Outlaws have in Cool Map to use him as this like floating.
So again, I'm reinforcing now the concept of Cool Map being a floating player, because again we saw him off towards the far side of the courthouse. I called it church here, which is incorrect. Courthouse. Let's keep it secular, people. But Cool Map was out there on his own, up the top. So again, I'm reinforcing this. A narrative, there's a theme here about the way Houston used Cool Map. And I think it's interesting, and I want to, I keep bringing it up, and I'm not trying to be repetitive, but I want to reinforce it because we're seeing it again. It's a trend that I'm identifying.
Often keeping an eye on flanks, making sure no one can get through. It's tough to one.
But it doesn't work here. So he gets caught out. He boosts. I mean, I find it interesting that he boosts in this direction, not back the other way. But he gets caught out here. This is when it kind of goes wrong for Cool Map. But the idea is sound.
He's going to get de-seated here, though. That's not what he was looking for. Gets chunked very low. Birdring puts one into him, and Gesture just makes a pancake out of the man. Yeah,
see how I actually wasn't sure how to describe Gesture killing Cool Map then, and I paused. I said he makes a pancake out of the man. So there's nothing wrong with a pause, but for me, like, I want to have something in the chamber ready to go. I don't want to have to go like, and he makes a pancake out of the man. It's like, no, let's try and deliver this with conviction and not take it. Taking a breath is great, and it's something I should do more of, but you could see that I'm searching for a way to describe this. But you notice I'm trying to avoid at all costs saying Gesture kills Cool Map, because we don't get to see it, right? We didn't see what happened there, but I know that he landed on him with a jump pack. So he makes a pancake out of him. Didn't come as quickly as I would have liked it to, but it came anyway. All right. Oh, that's you, Fast Wesley. Appreciate it, bro. Thanks for the kind words.
And Linkser at least gets Gesture in response. Linkser's actually doing some work there. You can see Birdring is trying.
Okay, so I get it, right? Here's a good example of like when people don't like things about observing. Linkser gets 2 kills. But we had already established that we're on board with Birdring here. I'm going to go back a little bit. So as Cool Map comes out, we know that Birdring is going to be an initiator. He's an instigator. It's about the picks. And the reason why we're on this is because if you remember back to the last fight, Birdring and Bedosen, admittedly, was the catalyst for the fight win. He killed Muma. He got that pick. So now we should expect there to be another occasion of this occurring, because that's how the Spitfire are trying to use Birdring, right? So
Into the second portion of the map.
we see that Birdring comes across. We're waiting to see if he's going to grapple or do something, tricksy, right?
Often keeping an eye on flanks, making sure
Again, he's doing a lot of damage. He's shooting Cool Map. And it's kind of nice to catch shots like that, even if it wasn't a complete kill on the Diva. And now, the observers knew there was a Zenyatta here, right? So we're staying on Birdring, because if we switch to Profit might be a little bit confusing. And remember, new viewers, we're switching all the time, are going to be very confused. So a lot of this broadcast is going to making sure that everyone can kind of appreciate the game, even if we don't get to see 100% of it. In fact, we probably get to see about 40% of it, and that's an optimal amount. So Birdring, surely he's going to do something here, right? What's he looking for? He's looking for a pick, but just as Birdring sets up to go forward to try and find a pick, Lynxy gets 2 kills. You cannot predict this happening. We're on with the attacking team because that is by default the way that we structure these stories, right? And the annoying part is in the previous fight, you know, it looked like Houston were going to hold in front of that first point. So the observers go, okay, let's go with Houston now because they're looking confident, looking strong. They're looking like they've got more ultimates. In the observer room, they're saying, hey guys, looking like Houston's going to take this. So we're going to, you know, break the normal rule of following the attacking team to now follow the defenders. So the one fight that we follow the defenders in, the attacking team actually wins. It happens, right? So now we're back to working with, you know, Birdring, and yeah, we missed 2 kills from Lynxer, and that sucks. But tell me how we avoid this occurring unless we have a delay. It's not possible. Do I think Dive is hardest to watch because it's all over the place? I guess, yeah. I mean, it's hard for a viewer. It's fast paced. It's kind of, you know, we're watching a lot of stuff happening. I don't really mind. I can cast Dive. Like I said, I just say a lot of words, right? For those asking observer-related questions, Imagine42 in the chat is an observer for the Overwatch League, so direct them to him and feel free to, chat about that sort of as an aside to what we're doing here. So anyway, we missed Lynxy getting 2 kills. Okay, Reddit, I'm sorry. Yes, Apex would have done it better. Okay, but now we're going to continue and see what else we have to look at.
You can see Birdring is trying to dig him out, but he's got no sightlines right now. Lynxer still has a lot of freedom, a lot of room to work.
So I'm still talking about Lynxer while we're on board with Profit. Because it's important. I've got to give some room to the fact that Lynxer just got 2 picks and, you know, he's a guy that does a lot if he's given space.
Spitfire been corralled into the church here. Profit.
Yes, it's a courthouse.
Saying his prayers. See that
yes, no one prays in a courthouse unless they're being put away for life.
trap keeps him in place.
Lynxer just picking up those kills and forces Birdring to try and scout him out, and Birdring can't.
So I leave this to Matt now, throw it over because there's a bit of a lull. Teams are setting up. Houston aren't going to engage until the payload probably gets to about the bridge. So this is prime time for Matt to start to talk about what's going on or what could happen.
Get him from that sight line that he had all the way on that right-hand side. It's going to force Birdring to change his angle. Lynxer will as well as Birdring connects with a shot on Abani. He'll have to back down. Rockets with the Transcendence if Houston wants to get aggressive. So
Mumu actually flanked them there, which is pretty cool. Kind of like he dropped off the high ground, gave the backline a tickle, realized he couldn't get anything, then he jumped out.
Ruger snuck into the backline, but thought better off. But Propto, Pulse Bomb doesn't quite connect.
He actually got hit by Lynxer on the way down, which is big, but there's no time to mention that.
Actually takes a big hit on the way down. Is forced to recall.
Just get shit on. Holy shit. Lynxer's so good, man. Ah.
2 from 2.
2 from 2 because obviously he hit him the first time and he forced a recall.
Accuracy on point. Nuts might be caught here as well. No.
Again, I say as well a lot. I'm still trying to work on not saying it, but it's still a thing. Again, big love to all the followers that I've had recently. I don't have Twitch alerts on, so I can't identify you guys individually because I'm getting a lot of follows tonight, which is really nice. It's chiming in quite often, so I can't really talk over it, but thank you guys, and maybe I can go through and I can thank you guys at the end of the stream if you're still here.
Harmony keeps him standing for now, but there's 54 seconds left. Time
again, but there's 54 seconds left. Remind you guys of the stakes. Most of you guys aren't dumb. You know how to see what's going on. You're watching. That's great. Not everyone is, though. So now the intensity, we've got to step it up a notch here because things, the margin of error for the Spitfire is small.
They're going to get Birdring, so they use the infrared sight. They see Birdring over by the Mega Health Pack in the courtyard. He has to go retreat all the way to the side. They just send Muma in there after him, takes him out.
How do you guys hand off to one another? Is it just game sense or do you have signals? Sometimes signals, but only if I'm throwing to Matt at an irregular moment or if I want him to keep casting a team fight. Sometimes I use it for him, like if he's doing, sometimes Matt ends up doing a team fight because it just happens. He does the play-by-play, but I still want him to do the analysis after the game because I think he's a better analyst than I am. So he'll do a team fight because sometimes he just has to because I throw to him. And then I'll go like this to him to say like, keep doing the analysis and then throw to me after so I can reset expectations and reestablish the pace. Normally though, you can tell by the cadence of my voice. So when I finish a sentence, I often finish it with a sound of finality, right? I guess the pitch at which I'm talking lowers, gives a sense that you're done with what you were saying. So a good caster will pick up on that. He'll know that by the pitch of my voice that I'm throwing. Sometimes we talk over each other, but Matt's just straight on. Like there's never any dead air. Ah, oh, what's up, MKL? Long time no see, bro. Best Mercy Norway. Big it up.
So now you're going to have to wait for Birdring. You will have the info site here for the London Spitfire, so you'll be able to know exactly where everybody on Houston's playing. Houston with both support ults, and they have a self-destruct to clear the payload.
Birdring's just used info site now. Spitfire have all...
Sorry, he's just using infosight now. I've said, because like we have a lot of players here, and you can actually see when someone has infosight because you can see more of their wireframe instead of just the outline. But yeah. What do you mean? How do I remember that, MKL? We go way back, bro.
The information they need to make the informed decision about how to start this fight. You'll see the Riptide coming as well, but it won't save gesture. He actually has to use Primal Rage prematurely there just to keep himself alive. The Spitfire don't have a margin of error. They can't afford to lose a player.
See, I'm trying to reinforce the fact that there's no margin of error so much that I'm just straight out saying to you there's no margin of error here. So that Primal Rage timing was obviously really important.
His point. No one's on the payload right now. There's more fighting to be done. A movement aside to get Hog wild himself. Nuts avoids him. There's a self.
So there's a pause there. See, so sometimes you could throw to Matt. I could throw to Matt there, but I'm like, nah. It's overtime cast time. So this was like an opportunity where I just wanted to extend my play-by-play a little bit and try and just keep it all consistent for this fight. I'm not really trying to steal the airtime, but sort of me and Matt sort of figured out that it's kind of nice if there's like the last fight that is sort of, if it's really long, I will throw. I'm not afraid to do that. I don't need the limelight. I don't care. It's not about me anyway. It's about the players. But I had a brief pause there, and I decided to keep going. So you'll notice it.
No one's on the payload right now. There's more fighting to be done. A movement aside.
There's more fighting to be done. Movement decides to get Hog wild himself.
Nuss avoids him.
And then a pause, and then Nuss avoids him because obviously he was on the Valkyrie. He just got away from Muma.
There's a self-destruct here for Coolman. He'll want it for the resuit if it's possible.
So again, there's a self-destruct here. So I'm looking down here at this point. There's obviously a lot going on the screen, but I said there's a self-destruct here for Coolmat. He'll use it for a resuit if possible because his main goal right now, obviously, is probably, he could zone him with the self-destruct, but getting back in the mech after taking damage is the most important part because he wants to stay alive, especially with Bedosin just having gone down with the Transcendence. Now, he should be rezzed.
Bedosin's taken down early in the fight. He's going to be brought back.
Do I not follow you on Twitter, MKL? That's pretty funny. I guess that was part of the joke, wasn't it? Do you tweet anything funny, bro? That's a question, you know? I gotta keep my followers, my following pretty trimmed.
Immediately by Nuts, both Valkyries are now in play. Both teams giving it all. They're unloading all the ultimates somehow, but Ocean falls again. Self-destruct.
So you see, like I'm peaking a little bit now in my intensity. You haven't heard this yet, this game. I'm trying to be more consistent in my development of excitement. Sometimes it's hard to do. Sometimes I go nuts for the first fight. But yeah, let's go back again. Hold on.
Avoids him. There's a self-destruct here for Coolman. He'll want it for the resuit if it's possible. Bedosin's taken down early in the fight. He's going to be brought back immediately by Nuts.
So again, I have to refer to the fact that Bedosin's being rezzed, right? I said it was taken down earlier on in the fight, but he's been brought back now. So because the Transcendence is so important here, and yeah, Mercy rezzes someone, so I've got to mention it, right? This fucking rezzes all over the feed here. So the flow of the cast is a little bit different. I can handle this. I don't mind it. I can deal with it. Right? I fucking cast this game without a kill feed. Right, back in the day. Back when it was like 5 traces, so it's fine. But it's something you have to bear in mind.
Both Valkyries are now in play. Both teams.
So I said both Valkyries are now in play.
Giving it all. They're unloading all the ultimates somehow.
And they're unloading all the ultimates. So both teams are giving it their all. Like, this is it. They're just friggin' letting go. Bedosin dies to the self. Like, I missed this. No, I just... Okay, let me explain this. I missed Bedosin. I think I missed this. He dies immediately after he gets rezzed. And he has trans. If I mention it, I'll be happy. I don't think I got it, though.
Bedosin falls again. Self-destruct found him at Birdring. Wins the 1v1.
Okay, actually, well, I did. But I should have said that, like, he got rezzed again a second time there. Fucking hell. Love Mercy. So, I did mention it. Sort of. But he gets rezzed anyway, so even if I went to explain why it was so important he died, he just got fucking rezzed. So me missing an opportunity to deliver some important information kind of doesn't matter because Mercy just saved my ass. He just got rezzed twice in that fight anyway.
We don't duel against Linksa. Coolman's trying to chase, gesture down. Nuss escaping over towards his team, but that's the safe haven of the Transcendence now employed.
So the safe haven of the Transcendence now employed. I mean, there's a lot of ways of saying that, but again, trying to mix it up a little bit.
So because Bedosin falls to that self...
And then Matt, because your boy Matt's starting to get loud. You know what I mean? Like he recognized, he's smart enough to know the game well enough that like to know when to get excited, but he plays off me really well. So when I'm bringing it up, he's bringing it up. He's usually like a super chill guy, just like kind of, you know, medium in his volume. But when I get up there, he supports me. He gets up there, because if he didn't, it would just sound really weird. It would sound like there's a big drop off between our excitement levels. But he fucking gets up there, gets loud, and that's why I love casting with the guy. Like it's sick.
The Shut, they're forced to use both resurrections out of the Valkyrie to bring Bedosin back in because he has the Transcendence. But Huya will fall.
Cool Matt going huge right now. The Riptide is just an insurance.
So we miss Cool Matt, right? We didn't see Cool Matt get 3 kills, but there's a fucking Riptire about to go off. So how are we supposed to know to look at that? Reddit, please. Anyway, let's go back and look at that fight again, because with the Riptire getting used, that's normally when I would jump in, right? Because it's like Matt's sort of discussing mid-fight, which is great, which is fine, like sort of who's used ultimates and stuff like that. It's an alternative from him just doing pure play-by-play after I throw to him. But when I see the Riptire, I'm probably going to jump in, because there's another chance to boost the excitement even higher if it was going to be important. So, but I noticed something. Everyone wants to post links. Why do we want to post links? All right, well, I might do pesto, that's fine. I think Fordeka tried to post a link and he couldn't. No, like I'm not trying to shit on Reddit, guys. Like but I just want to point out, like, if there's moments where I can sort of inform this discussion about observing a little bit more and maybe explain to you why this stuff is happening, because the observers are too busy trying to fucking do their job to sit down and do this, you know, about the observing. So if I can give them a voice, or if I can sort of, you know, get alongside them, then I will. What's this clip? I'll watch the clip after. Right.
Because Bedosin falls to that self-destruct, they're forced to use both resurrections.
So both resurrections have been used, like, just to fucking res Bedosin, so I get trance on the payload, and the trance is late anyway because there are other players dead.
Out of the Valkyrie to bring Bedosin back in because he has the Transcendence. But Huya will...
So, like, I wasn't gonna... So Matt is talking about ultimates while Cool Matt got his first 2 kills, I think, on both Nelson and Bedosin, which is just fucking insane, by the way. But the observers know that Jake's about to use a Riptide to end the game. It will be the finale, the crescendo, theoretically. So I want to jump in here. But I see this kill. I see the kill feed all of a sudden. That's all I see. I don't see Cool Matt killing people. I didn't see it. But I saw this. I noticed, wow, that this name here is the same as this name here, and the same as this name here, and it's the same as that, and wow, I guess he's fucking getting kills. So, you know, give it some airtime. I definitely got to identify and, you know, to notice, I've got to acknowledge, you know, his impact in the fight, but of course we're not watching it because Riptire about to go off.
Huge right now, the Riptide is just an insurance policy!
So, Riptire is just an insurance policy, and there you go. So, yeah, it was okay. Like that round was okay from me. As you can see, there were a couple flubs that I've already pointed out in the fights, but this was okay. I'm lifting to the occasion. I feel like I'm doing all right. And you'll see we're letting it breathe. The Riptide is just an insurance policy. Dead air. Let it breathe. Let Mr. Outlaws fan get some time without us talking about shit.
The London Spitfire just behind the 8 ball. A couple times in this map, the Outlaws made it so costly for them to even make meter progress.
And that last fight, when Bedosin falls early, they pop Valkyrie, they bring him back up. You want to save one of those other reses for a tank, right?
And then the observers capture it anyway. We have a replay of it, which is really great. This is one thing. If we miss something, more often than not, we're going to get to see it anyway.
Just get rid of those larger HP targets on the point.
Look, they're chasing him. They want it with Bedosin.
Take him out, and then they're...
And you can see, like, while Cool Matt was doing serious work, the first kill was mostly done by Moomerang and a Discord Orb, and the second kill was mostly done by Raucus and a Discord Orb. But you see, like, the Mercy gets chunked down really low. So yeah, the guy's gone nuts, but it's a whole team thing.
You're gonna have to use that second round.
Free cam, yeah, I agree with that, imagine, but you guys are obviously doing that a lot more now and going to free cam in those final moments, which is amazing for me. Because that's a lot easier for me to cast, because it's all there. I don't have to rely too much on individuals and trying to, like, cause I wouldn't have known there. I could have just sort of seen it all, and that's where I can actually start to rap a bit. Yeah, well, we're doing that, and like, we are moving towards those free cam final fights. I think we're seeing that a lot more now. You can expect more in the future.
Onto him.
That's
Just the
insane.
cleanup kills there from Cool Man.
3 kills and a D-Max from Coolman there. That boy was all about town.
So he has a pretty good first half. 14 eliminations, 8 final
No,
blows.
the players never complain about being out of
3
heroes.
deaths.
I just don't think they can.
Jake actually, with Junkrat, I mean, it's just such a big difference maker. 17 elims, 10 final blows, 31% of overall team damage.
I mean, you could see what he was doing, especially on...
See, Matt rattles off those stats because we have the screen there. I mean, there's not always context to the stats because they're not. It's not like based on the average of a Junkrat on this map and stuff like that. Yeah, I vape. Yeah. Yes, I vape.
that first point. That was where Jake was really shining.
Bro, it's better than smoking cigarettes.
Birdring were having
If I
a lot of
smoke cigarettes, I
difficulties
can't
getting
cast
up close
properly.
and personal to the back line
Yes,
of the
imagine
Outlaws
is
because
an
Jake
observer.
just kept throwing out the concussive mine. Not only doing damage, but if they survive it, they get knocked back. Especially if you're a Genji and you don't have another switch.
So obviously, like, it's obvious. Yeah, concussive mine knocks people back. But it's really important in some cases where heroes don't have gap closers or they've used their gap closers, like a Winston jumping. I mean, that's the hardest thing about playing against Doomfist as a tank player, if you know that. So, like, he just fucking moves you. It's like you can't land a jump or you can't get to grips with your target. If you're a Winston, you use your jump to get on the back line, and Doomfist just, like, whacks you out of the way. Then you just sat there, like, pulling a dick, and you can't do anything. So, you know, I'm pointing out that in the case of a Genji or someone like that, it's really frustrating to be displaced, and that aspect of the concussive mine is also important, and what Jake uses quite well, I feel.
Strike available, that's very frustrating getting displaced halfway to your target.
And in a meta where you can, play a little bit looser and more aggressive, where you're able to just get resurrected by Mercy,
You're trying to
And Matt says this, trying to be as polite as possible about Mercy.
be nice, I know it, man.
just having the Junkrat
I can D&D my scrap, hold on. I'll do it for you guys. I didn't know it was popping up so much. Sorry.
just be able to just really hurt people, right? Like really penalize them for getting aggressive. That's what you wanted on your side for. Now you see London. So they talked about it a little bit. Now having the Junkrat on this map, this is the one that they took over Houston the last time. They brought the Junkrat in. Will it be enough now on their defensive side? This is just going to become a thing now.
Yep. Boys like a bit of Futurama, I'm down with that. But that's the $100,000 question, man. The Outlaws now, it's nice to set the goal for yourself. Now they know how far they need to get, and to be honest, it's easily within their potential to get it. The Spitfire have to batten down the hatches and get ready to hold out for a long winter.
And the Outlaws are going to go triple tank. So
I just use a batten down the hatches thing. That's just obviously like a plane or tank reference for a long winter. I'm just trying to, it's another way of saying like they have to hold for a long time. It's just better to say something different instead of saying, oh, they got to hold and they can't let the Outlaws get more than 67.38 meters or they're going to lose the map. It's like, yeah, I fucking know that. I know that, right? I need to reestablish the stakes. And if I can do it in a more creative way for you guys, then I feel better about it.
Raucus will play Roadhog a lot like what we saw earlier in the boss. Linkser jumps up, sees Eureka.
You see that? This might annoy some people, but Matt might be casting and you'll just hear me go like, ooh, in the background or something, because I fucking love this, man. I love my job, and if I see shit like that, it gets me excited. I'm just gonna make some weird sound.
Area Birdring Bonnie, he's like, nope, I ain't fighting that. So they'll run triple tank. Bonnie will be able to just farm all these big targets and get Valkyrie rather quickly.
The pick potential here from Raucus as well is not something to be underestimated.
Yeah, so again, Raucus is looking for a pick, so it's, motherfucker, normally you see him playing Zen, so there's a reason there's a Roadhog here. They want to close this game out, they want to snowball into some big fights. So.
Well, this man, he'd love a bit of a dosage right now. He's happy with whatever he gets, though. Pressuring Booyah.
This doesn't work out. That was, sorry. I think he got knocked into the Spitfire here. Hold on.
A bit of a dosage right now. He's happy with whatever he gets, though. Pressuring Booyah.
Yeah, it's like we all got behind him and booped him forward. That's so smart. Oh, he's so smart.
Again, having to take a breather. Oh!
So he can't get away.
Quite survive it. Perhaps bit off a little bit more than he could chew.
Oh, yes! Let's go.
Headshot. Linkser felled as he tries to challenge it.
See again, Linkser died. I said Linkser. Oh, it was a halt. Thank you, Leg Day. Yeah. Again, sometimes hard to see. But, yeah. He felled. He was killed. He was felled. Different way of saying it. But I'm basically saying the same thing. My casting is essentially finding ways to say the same thing in different ways. Yo, what's up, Matt? I only watched this map for no other one. Thanks, yeah. Well, actually, honest with you, Matt, I might not have time for anything else, so we'll see. It's a good map, man. You guys fucking played sick. Credit where credit is due.
The opposition Widowmaker is brought back for a second crack at it.
And because Jake is just spamming this choke here and they're not able to...
That's it, Jake. Fuck him up. Geometry, bitch.
His Valkyrie rather quickly as well.
Pythagoras would be proud.
He's rapidly going up towards the Transcendence. So when you have the Junkrat, the bad...
So you see, like, Jake's being really careful as well, just to, you know, keep line of sight very tight because he knows that Birdwing's in the back and Bedosian could kill him as well, so that's quite nice. He does get booped away by a concussive mine there, but Banny is already fucking there.
The thing about it is if you don't finish off these kills, you're just giving the supports on the opposing team so much ultimate percentage.
Jake and Prophet both trading out those concussive mines, both just trying to stay out of sight while getting damage done.
Yeah, so I'm pointing out the fact that these Junkrats are trying to do indirect damage and sort of stay safe. So, because we're on board with Jake right now, and there are kills happening from other people. You know, Maddie's fucking up some mechs over here, just, you know, shitting on nerds. But I'm talking about who I've been served up. So I eat what I'm served because I trust my observers to give me what is most relevant. And I don't have to think about what's most relevant because they're fucking giving it to me. Or a team.
Krat's a indirect damage dealer. Oh, Prophet, he's caught though. He's dead. Straight to the bread bar.
He's dead.
Skidder now, Jake gonna follow up with a Riptide. They know it's open season. He thought about the winner, but no, he'll have Bird Ring. Tries to rappel to escape, but he won't get it done.
Grapple, not rappel. Obviously, rappel's going down a hill.
Another hook towards Bedosian, and that's momentum. Well,
I did something there that I don't very often do as a caster. Is I pitched up for that. Like, this is something I learned from Semler actually. People say what they want about Semler. I think he's fucking great. I know he uses a couple phrases a lot, but that'll go. That won't be there for long. But he has this really good way of just like kicking up in his like pitch, and like he has this. He loves the game. He has this childlike glee, and it's just so apparent. I love hearing him cast because you know he loves what he's doing, and he's just enjoying himself. And he's like, it's like he's right there with you in the crowd, just banging these fucking thunder sticks together and loving it. So I'm trying to do that. That's something that Semler does well that I'd like to do a bit more as well. Is get some maybe more, not melody, but you know, change my pitch a bit. One thing that so I don't know if you guys have seen it. Some guy put together that Rap God video, right? I'm not trying to be a rap god, by the way. Like I don't really care about sort of living up to that standard. But one thing I really liked in a lot of those fights is that I'm casting over like 30 seconds to a minute, and it's fast. But as we go, I'm inflecting up, and I was really happy listening to it because it's getting more and more intense. And I'm talking at the same pace, right? I'm not going any faster because if I go any faster, you won't hear it. Or like it just won't make any sense. So I'm trying to find a way to keep building the intensity even though I'm already at maximum speed to be understood. So in some of those fights, I'm actually managing to kick up my tone a bit. And then you get some of those clips that I was really happy with. I love that I was able to do that. But fucking hell, the last few weeks, I've tried to do it. I've tried to get into these team fights and cast it. And, you know, I see it's a big fight and I'm trying to work on my inflection and build it up. But I've just struggled to recreate that as often as I would like, which is annoying because I thought it was really good. So hopefully, you know, I can find that, and that's something for you guys. Now you kind of know if you're watching the stream, you maybe even notice it. Like, oh, I can see what Mitch is trying to do here. I'm trying to, because if I'm yelling and it's fast, right? It's just like this. It's just like it's like a wall of sounds just fucking hitting you and you're falling back. Like, okay, you know. But if I can vary that, if I can create a sense of variation in that and you know, pitch myself up as I go, then it's almost like I've already hit my max volume. I've already hit my max pace, but I can pitch higher. You know what I mean? And that's, you know, it's like, you know, I'm Super Saiyan, then I'm Super Saiyan 2, then I'm fucking, you know, Super Saiyan 3. It's like I can still progress in excitement without getting louder or getting faster. Because if I go any louder or faster, it's just bad technique. So I'm experimenting with that. I feel like that's my next step as a caster, is to really start to work on that pitch, because so many casters just like hitting you with this, like just like, what's going on? Oh, look at all these kills, it's huge, and Cormac comes in with a massive shot. It's like, that's cool, that's great. But I have a habit of hitting my peak, hitting my 10 really early sometimes in fights or in games, because I'm fucking excited, because I love this shit. So, you know, I'm sitting there like, oh, this is the best. Like, I'm just, you know, getting really loud and I've got nowhere to go. I've got no headroom. I don't give myself anywhere to go. So pitching up is the next step. So no one ever, sadly. Actually, that's not true, cool, man. I was at the end of the first round. You might have missed it, but I did, you know, get excited about your 4K. So who's Moe? Sorry, I probably should know who that is. I have my head up my ass, so I don't really know. Anyway, let's carry on. I might even get this map done before 2020.
It's just getting that third kill for Houston.
So my throw is that's momentum, and then Matt comes in and you know he keeps that intensity.
Have two players dead.
He never really did this before Overwatch, by the way, so he had to adapt to me.
Uses Valkyrie. What do? They pop the tire, forces Nuts all the way back. They pick up the one more. You can't res everybody up. It just makes it pretty costly at that point. I mean, for London, right, you go in and get those reses, you're just going to get more ult percentage to the side of Houston Outlaws.
The Spitfire no longer have that Orisa shield in place. Linksa now has much more clement sight lines to work with.
Okay, so obviously it's very common at this stage of the map for defending teams to switch off of the Orisa. There's just no point having it. Like, you need to be able to have some the ability to traverse between low and high, and obviously Orisa can't do that. But what I'm trying to set up at this point is that it's not the best way of explaining this. Haha, cool Matt, you're a sub, bro. Get mad. There you go. Cool Matt's my sub. Thank you, Gampton, for gifting that. That's very kind of you. So I'm explaining here that because there's no Orisa now, Linksa doesn't have any static barriers that would otherwise prevent him from getting damage done. You know what it's like. You're playing quick play, right? You're going up against a team that has like a Reinhardt. It's King's Row, right? You're attacking on King's Row. And you've got a teammate who wants to play Widowmaker, right? Thinks they're fully sick. But the enemy team has like a Reinhardt or an Orisa, and the Widow just kind of doesn't do anything, just shoots barriers all the time. Playing Widow, attacking Widow on this map into an Orisa is kind of like that. You need to like find a way to get around the barrier, or coordinate with your Junkrat, or if you have a Roadhog, into breaking that barrier and then using the very small window between the barrier breaking and the Orisa refreshing it, if it's not being pressured down. Like, if the Orisa is having her cooldown pressured out, then the Widow has more room. But now I'm trying to explain that Linksa has more. I said clement. Obviously, it's a bit of an old-fashioned word. Like, inclement. Clement means, like, I guess more accommodating. So he's got better conditions. He's got better sight lines. But bringing this up here is kind of pointless because no team's going to play Orisa on defense here anyway. You know, like, everyone switches to Winston here. So there's better timing. It would be better to sort of make this point maybe if the Spitfire were playing like I don't know, another tank, like a Winston Diva, defending on that first point, which is not common because obviously the Orisa shield's really robust and helpful. Alright, yo, what's up, Custer? Welcome, bro. My mans. Alright, let's carry on.
The Spitfire are in a position where they can take control of this game, though. They need to shut Linksa down. Birdring is still at large, and Birdring has been stepping up to the task.
So I'm offering a possibility, right? The last thing I want any caster wants to do is to go into a game and say it's over. Gampton with the sub to Custer. Oh, that's very kind of you. Thank you. I usually discourage subbing at all because I just don't ever stream. But that's very kind. Hey, Shay Baker from Melbourne. What's up, bro? Welcome. Nice to have another Aussie in here. Yeah. Okay, let's carry on. Gampton's just having a bit of fun. Anywho. So, yeah, sorry, what I'm saying here is that, like, there's a chance. I need to, like, offer a possibility that the Spitfire could come back in this round and, you know, what they've got at their disposal and what they can use to try and bring things back. What's up, Foggy Bear? How you going? Welcome.
They've got a Riptide here from Prophet. Already Jake's down. That's a good start as well. And now Prophet doesn't have to worry about Jake using a concussive mine to instantly blow up his Riptide.
So I point this out. I guess I talk about... It's good timing, actually, because I talk about Prophet because I'm looking up here, right? At that time. I wasn't watching the player on the screen because we're setting up. So I want to give you like a big picture idea of what's going on. And it's like the observers notice because they switched to this camera view, which is excellent because I'm not talking about the player on screen. So they're like, all right, bam, we're going to go to like a wide view. And this is a great angle because look, you can see the end of the map there. So this is really well done by the ops team. So, and look, I know if you're watching the stream and it might sound like I'm just sucking their dick, but I'm here to be critical of myself, but and I've mentioned some things with observing that could be better, but I think it's important, and I think because of the criticism the ops team are getting, I think it's important for me to take some time to look at the good things they did, you know, instead of just looking at the bad things they did, which we all fucking do. But anyway, so Gary, welcome. Yeah, nice to have all you guys in here. I think this is my peak viewership ever. I don't think I've ever had this many viewers, so thank you guys for joining us. It's super nice. I've got 69 followers this stream, so hey. My point was, though, Jake, you can blow up a Riptide with a concussive mine in one go. I think it's like 125 damage or something. Tyre's 100 HP or whatever. So That's like pretty annoying. Linksa can also blow it up pretty easily. Not really that important point to bring it up, but I'm like, hey, here's a possibility of what could happen. You know, I'm trying to theory craft. I'm trying to look forward a little bit while I've got a lull, which looks like it won't last for long. Gesture's probably going to tickle this. He's either going to jump up and into the back line, or more likely up to the high ground and then drop down again with the rest of his team.
Tries to win a team fight with it.
Yeah, Linksa use the inference. They try and get an angle onto Bird Ring here, and maybe
Tickle,
if they
tickle,
get that
tickle,
pick onto
jump
Bird
up.
Ring, they
Yeah,
go
so he
all in. You
backs
see
up.
the Valkyrie come out. You see the push start to come through.
Yeah, okay.
For the Houston Outlaws, because you're going to have Supercharger rather soon as well. It'll be Riptire used by
Matt, pause there. I'm not really sure why. Sorry, I got distracted by chat. Do I think any team will sign AKTM or Cafe? AKTM, I think he couldn't. I think he can't. I think school or something. I think there was a reason. Cafe, Cafe is a good player. I think much like Echo, he definitely deserves a spot in the Overwatch League. But everyone's like X should be on Overwatch League and stuff like that. There are so many great players in contenders as well. You know what I mean? So Klaus as well, if you want to look at players who are really good. Was it Klaus? Player for Argentina. Huwu, yeah. He's sick. Will is also a good player. Atar was really good. Play with him in some L tryouts. Yeah. 99.99 Atar. Monty talks up Architect. Yeah. Well, Monty's right. Architect's good. Good player. I think that's a meme now, Monty talking up Architect. Monty's the kind of guy that would like tweet out like, Dallas Fuel, we got to pick this guy up, you know, because that's what he does. He's like very assertive on Twitter and authoritative and stuff like that. That's kind of what he does.
for the Houston Outlaws, because you're going to have Supercharger rather soon as well. It'll be
Yeah, Matt paused there because Prophet died. I think he was confused because we heard fire in the hole. Prophet dies to Cool Matt, so I guess Cool Matt just fucked him up while he was using Riptire. And he got confused because he's like, in his head, I think he's going, wait, he used Riptire, but he's dead. And then he had to remind himself that you still channel Riptire after you've died.
Riptire used by Prophet. Doesn't get anything with it.
He went down as well. Cool Matt picked him off while he was challenging.
There it is.
Okay, it's delayed, but it finds his mark. Jake's just going to be res straight up, though, and so is Mover. He's down for a split second before studiously he's brought back to life by Banny, who's just...
Studiously, Banny brings him back to life. I think, it's not a great adjective, though, is it really? Better off saying something like, I don't know. There's a better adjective than studiously there.
Been on point now with those reses. Oh, nuts! That's not where you want to get caught at all. And Linksa finds the body shot. That's all he needed for...
I'm slowing it up a little bit. I'm just slowing the pace down somewhat because I still think there's one more fight to be had. Or I'm just like, there's no fight happening, so why would I be hyping this too much? Diligently, that's what I was looking for. I think that was actually the word, Pesto. Yeah. Yeah, it's an adverb, whatever. You know what I mean. Yeah, Pesto can keep mod. That's fine.
It's a low health target. The Outlaws getting close now, man. They get real close. It's 3 minutes to go. Where are the Spitfire? Nowhere to be seen. Map 1 done. Outlaws in the head. In the lead. And I mean, they paved the way with a sick defense, man.
Yeah, Houston just really turned up there on map 1. And to remind you, that is a map that London took.
Bunch of good-looking boys, huh? Yeah. It was... I think it was diligently. It was the word I was looking for. But I can know I was looking for, but yeah. Let's go back and look at that last fight again. Let's take a little bit of a deeper look because yeah, I didn't like my casting. That wasn't very good. Well, so we're gonna see Nuss get picked off. I'm gonna pop off for that, and then I think I'm gonna realize that London are like nowhere to be seen. I mean, Muma gets rezzed, but Ocean just gets like Lexa just shits on both supports here. Jake's obviously doing Jake things.
He's just been on point now with those reses. Oh, nuts! That's not where you want to get caught at all.
So I realized, okay, I'm hyping up that kill on us because he just got fisted.
And Linksa.
And Linksa what? That's the question. It's like Linksa... Not much he can really do here. There's not much to be done. And then I guess when we cut to the... We're going to cut to a image of the payload in a second, and I just raise the hype a little bit because it may as well. It's not over the top, I don't think. But.
The body shot. That's all he needed for such a low health target. The Outlaws getting close now, man. They get real close. It's 3 minutes to go. Where are the Spitfire? Nowhere to be seen. Map 1 done. Outlaws in the head. In the lead.
Outlaws in the head. Oof. I guess maybe I got mixed up between Outlaws or in their head. I don't know why I would say that. I think I just messed up in the lead there. So, I don't think that's your fault. Imagine. I think I mean, I'm watching Linksa looking for something. He did kill a trap. So it was an important pick. Yeah. Update your about me. What's wrong with my about me? I don't know. I don't update this channel, bros. I just get on and stream every now and then. Okay, tell you what, we'll do a bit of the second map. I've got time.
And I mean, they paved the way with a sick defense, man.
Yeah, Houston just really.
Okay, tell you what, I'll give some follow-up here. Thank you very much to Cringy Law, Aerospace Ninja, Frosty Paws, Flaming Kazan, Charlie Chance, Blinken 14, Austin Ford 44, Jordation, Froggy Bear, Adithita Custer with a sub, of course, Cool Matt also subbing because of our good friend in chat there, just handing him out, Gamson, thank you for that. Lepica Poo, JV Seal, Inconspicuous Orange, Linthilla, Schmolly G, Tron Action, Kosk, John Wall 2, G Perrier, Masterman 21, LNGK, O Word Sentence, C Pony 20, Dire WCC, Creed 23, Jagrat Omega Lol, C Smithy Dog, Mythbust Man, SFX, Christian 123715, Caffeine, Phased XIV, Captain Leadfinger, Ghost Gaming PC, Marsbird, Decent Ad Game, Magnum Octavius, Knitting Time, Faraka, Zach3, Ruth Subasa, Gavin Darklighter, Mind Controlled Human, Imagine, of course, with the gifted sub. Thank you guys. Thank you. Appreciate it. You thought I had the appropriate level of enthusiasm there? Yeah, I guess so. All right.
Turned up there on map 1, and to remind you, that is a map that London took against Houston in their matchup. And now for it to go in Houston's favor.
I guess we got a break here, right? Yeah. Oh my god, Jake! That is, by the way, that is like the most boring meme. I don't understand. I know what the lol Jake thing is about, but come on. It's fucking boring. I want quality memes, alright? Quality memes, not this fucking Omega lol Jake nonsense.
Good way to start this push here for Houston Outlaws.
I think they're not going to be ready for what we're going to bring next time.
Be a great children's book. Well, man, the top speed of a Spitfire is about 360 miles an hour. I tell you what, the Outlaws are way faster on that particular map.
Okay, some flavor, right? So I'll let you on a little secret. In the break, I got my phone out. I typed in to Google top speed of a Spitfire. I just thought of it. I'm like, hey, let's create a thing about this. We'll say how fast a Spitfire is, and that Houston will way faster, right? So, you know,
Blitzing, especially through that second phase of Dorado. And the Spitfire kind of gave it away for themselves. They struggled to make any gains at all. Progress on the attacking side.
It's a lot like the Boston match. Boston, a very aggressive team, a lot like London, very like dive heavy, so to speak. And they go up against Houston, who loves to play this defensive style built around Jake and the Junkrat, and they're just able to stop these dives from coming in. Just so much burst damage. How does London change their gameplay up a little bit?
Jake and the Junkrat would be a great children's book series if it didn't involve him massacring everybody all the time. Perhaps we need to make some edits there. But it's interesting how we see some of these very aggressive or dive-oriented teams sometimes have problems on their defense. I mean, there's always a risk involved with being dive-y as a comp. We did see the Junkrat attempted by the Spitfire when it came to the defense, but it just wasn't enough to plug it down. But Fury's coming in here for Wuya. So I'll switch up in that.
Jeez, they cut the music randomly. There we go.
Yeah, we've seen both the off tanks for London quite often throughout the season.
So talk about the subs. We always try and mention them, and we always talk about like what we should expect to see as a result of these subs. Thanks, Huang MJ. Very kind of you to say.
Ilios, we get to see potentially, birdering.
Do I wear my own clothes, or do they give you clothes? Those clothes are selected by a stylist, and then I am told what to wear on a specific day. We've got a couple of lovely ladies that work in wardrobe that sort of get them all ready, and we sort of walk in. I've never had my ass wiped for me like this, you know. I mean, I'll get to work, I'm told what I'm casting, I go down to wardrobe, they tell me what I'm wearing, I go out to makeup, they fucking make me look pretty. Like, it's quite a life, to be honest. So yeah, I don't select the clothes. No. If I selected the clothes, I'd be wearing some mad peacock shit, fucking leopard print jacket, big old loud pocket square, huge tie, all the rest. Like, you don't want to see what my fashion would look like. it's not great. But that tie, I believe, was Monty's. Yeah, I remember that one, the white and black one.
First links are again if we get Ruins come into play. Jake could play Farah here for Houston on a lot of the points. It'll start out on Lighthouse, so get a chance to see what both teams decide to do here. Potentially, okay, so Houston, we saw
Matt's right now looking in game. We have the obviously in game up, so we can see what like the picks could be. So he's looking at that while we sort of go over this transition. Sometimes I like to talk to the crowd here. Also, when the scene changes, I also like to try and hype them up. Hype them up. Can I wear it now? Wear what? My outfit? Nah. I'm just gonna wear my oversleeve jacket. Bruh, it's too involved, man. There's so many moving parts. Maybe Blizzard will let me go back to. I mean, if you go and watch like what would be a great event? Overwatch World Cup. The last World Cup, I had some pretty interesting stuff. Thanks, Serenity. Take it easy, man. I try and do this often, but again, busy is as busy does, as they say.
do in the previous series when they saw Dreamcast pull out Farah.
I'm not allowed to wear the peacock shit. I'm told what to wear, and I wear it. I can't watch the stuff I like to wear.
They ran double hit scan. Looks like here, at least early, they had the double hit scan. Obviously, a lot of time to change.
Funny story. Oh god. I'm an engineer, right, by background. So like I've studied like engineering, and honestly, I've studied with like how windmills work and wind turbines. And one day, for some reason, I looked at this and I said, "Hey, Matt, this is really strange. What's the point in having solar panels?" Or, I don't know what I said. Like I thought the solar panels were powering the fucking windmill, but obviously nothing powers a windmill. It generates power. I just had a complete brain fart. But so every time I see this, I think back to me just being super dumb. And not understanding basic conservation of energy. So, good times.
Something of note also, Point doesn't come in for Bonnie. Bonnie usually always comes out for Houston.
So yeah, no, we're talking now, we'll see, we're seeing Bonnie kept in on this map a little more and Boink not used so much in that Lucio role. And that is because obviously you've got a good chance of rolling into Ruins where you don't need Lucio and you need that Widowmaker. You often, the Mercy, and you often boost Widowmaker and stuff like that. So we didn't see Houston make that substitution here.
Control maps didn't come out for Lijiang Tower in the previous series.
Yeah, I discussed this actually with Cormat outside in between the games. And he said to me is that if we run into Ruins, we can't really run Lucio on that map. It's not really practical. We need the Mercy for the Reses to answer Widowmaker picks. So
see what I did here? One of the most important things to me, outside of being good at casting, is cultivating a relationship with players where they'll feel like that they can talk about stuff. Because I feel like some of the most interesting stuff to talk about comes from the players' mouths themselves, right? And I was outside, I was having a vape outside with Cool Matt before, and I thought like, and you know, I'm not like a journalist. I'm not like up in his face asking him like, you know, what his love life's like, but I'm really interested in hearing from these guys what their experience is of these games, right? Like, you know, how they feel and, you know, how they have to play the game, because I'm not an expert. I'm not a pro player. So when I cast this game, I can't always give you the answer straight from their mouths. So the opportunity to have a chance to talk with Matt, and, you know, big thanks to Matt, he's always super nice and he's always willing to have a chat with me, which is awesome. But the fact that I got to go outside and ask him, you know, talk to him about, like, you know, do we see Boink or Banny here and why? And I can deliver that to you. It's like, I'd rather be telling you stuff that players have said than stuff that I think, 10 times out of 10. So I'm really glad to have that relationship with players. And it's also really, it's a big responsibility as well, because some things that players don't want you repeating on air or on stream, and you've got to sort of respect that and also, like, know what's appropriate to share and what's not. So yeah, I just love the fact that the players are there and I can hang out with them and I can talk to them, and we're just people. I'm really lucky to have that opportunity to spend time with those guys and to get insights and deliver them to you. It's kind of, you know, to a degree, I kind of try and bring some investigative journalism there. But yeah, so I'm telling you now what Matt told me.
we actually would rather run Bunny just at the moment because he's got that more playtime on Mercy, and it gives us a bit more, you know, of a robust approach if it does go to Ruin. So it's reasonable. Bunny, obviously, a player with a huge repertoire of Furies. It kind of sucks because we see some of these players just play Mercy for the entire stage, whereas Bunny's like an insane Ana player. He's just got a sick repertoire of supports, but he plays what he's supposed to play.
So it looks like London, they've kind of locked their comp in. Maybe we see Nuss switch to Mercy once he gives the speed.
So we're still talking about the comps here a little bit. What we should expect to see.
Probably expecting a Farah on the other side, and it'll be that double hit scan setup that comes out from the Houston Outlaws. It'll be Jake playing 76, Linkser playing McCree.
Okay, this is interesting. So Bunny doesn't go for any sort of Lucio play. He just fancies having the Resurrect there. No Pharaoh, of course, but there's still plenty of pocketing to be done. Same to be said of Nuss.
So I wanted to point this out because, yeah, Bunny, Banny. I don't know. I've had people tweet me saying, like, you guys should really get your pronunciations, like, lined up with each other. I guess that's fair enough. You know, it's probably something I could work on. But I'm sort of saying, like, hey, we got Mercies here. normally we see Lucio because teams want to get in good positions early or get towards the point. And it might just be that both these two teams realize that getting into the middle of the map first and setting up doesn't actually give them as big an advantage, as opposed to like Oasis Gardens, for example, when you can use the high ground if you get there first. That's why everyone wants Lucio, because it's just a super strong position. So I point out that Mercy's here, not because of Farah, but because there's just still lots of value that Mercy can bring you over maybe having Lucio on this particular map.
Of course. And Birdring would just like to, if he can get a couple headshots in here or get an early pick, force perhaps Bunny into a...
So here's what my line of thinking is, what is Birdring attempting to do right now? Why are we watching him? And what will his role be in the fight? And as we go through players, if I have a chance like this, where there's no action, it's a great way of sort of setting up their role, their mission, or I guess their objective as an individual and as part of the team.
Position where he has to make himself vulnerable by going for a resurrect. That's
Raucous almost got domed.
Just a bit of back and forth.
Okay, see, there it is. So like, I talked about Birdring just trying to get a headshot or something, because Prophet can follow up on this damage, and this is why London Spitfire are so good at aggressive play or like at the dive, because Birdring calls out, Raucous is dinked. Straight away, Prophet runs up around the outside and kills him. So that's what Birdring does. He's not necessarily a finisher unless he's the cleanup crew. What he is good at doing is getting that first bit of damage in and paving the way for Prophet to get those finishes, because it's very, very hard to one-clip a Zenyatta without putting yourself in great danger.
Raucous is the first player to fall. Prophet finds his mark. Lisa, awful. Very lucky to get out alive, but Prophet cleaned up on that.
Look, it happened again. The same thing happened again. This is what these guys... And it's great when there's an observable trend. Birdring smacks Linksa around the head a bit, and then I'm pointing at the screen. Why am I pointing at my screen? No one can see that. Birdring here shoots Linksa over there, gets him to 1 HP, and guess what? Prophet just runs straight in. So clever.
Raucous is the first player to fall. Prophet finds
1,
his mark.
2,
Lisa, awful.
and then he dies straight away.
Very lucky to
Love
get out
it.
alive, but
And again, like, Bunny gets the res on Raucous, but they're not going to have Linksa for this fight. So Birdring is, everyone talks about Big Boss Pine, but Birdring has fulfilled the same role here. He gets that early damage in. He sets picks up for Prophet to capitalize on. These guys are like a well-oiled machine.
Prophet cleaned up on that kill.
Yeah, you get Raucous back up, but Linksa does fall.
I mean, I don't really care why Reddit. I don't care why Reddit hates Drake. I really don't care. I mean, he does get a lot of the limelight. Maybe people don't like that, but he's just a guy. He's a nice kid, He's really friendly and he's polite. He's kind. But outside of the game, you can talk about inside the game all you want, but I don't care what Reddit think about Jake.
Oh, it's going to force Houston to back out just a little.
So this observing is really good. I like this because we're stuck on Birdring, and it's like it's a lot to expect, like Birdring to get the shots and then the obs team to switch to Prophet to follow up on the kills. I mean, that would be the dream, right? But it's also kind of hard for a new viewer to watch. So I'm happy with this. And also, McCree often keeps the enemy at like fairly long range. So it's kind of nice. It's the same as spectating Farah. It gives you a bit more of a view of the battlefield because McCree normally stands in a pivot location or with clear sight lines that he has a fairly commanding view of the fight. He's obviously very strong at that mid-range. So it gives you a good sense of what the setup is. And now we switch to a free camp here, and I can talk about what's happening on the point because it's been contested. Moomin there is looking fairly healthy. Prophet's being pocketed, and the rest of the line of Spitfire are likely about to collapse on Moomin. And if he doesn't have his jump-off cooldown, these guys probably can't help him.
The point will go. Oh, okay, going to be moving.
Right, they collapse on him. He does get out.
They will get on the point.
And Cool Matt finds Bedosa in the meantime.
As Muma's contesting it, he goes behind enemy line.
And Muma kills Prophet there. So I'm pretty sure there was an assistance there.
Prophet falls as well. Houston may be able to make something out of this.
Yeah, Prophet made the mistake of chasing Muma away after he'd given up an attempt at contesting the point.
So there you go. I point out that Prophet kind of ran into the rest of the Outlaws as Muma got out of the fight. So yeah. Try and point that out.
From Fury. Oh, he might have bitten off more than he can chew here. He might go down to the self-destruct. No, he gets away from it. Fury's met.
There was no self-destruct there. So, was there? Was there? Wait a minute.
Up an attempt at contesting the point.
There is a self-destruct.
Good response here from Fury. Oh, he might have bitten off more than he can chew here. He might go down to the self-destruct.
Oh, that's so clever. So, who is it? Fury, I guess. He just gets behind the corner so that self-destruct didn't hit him. I thought I miscalled that, but it was a self-destruct. Okay.
No, he gets away from it. Fury's mech, though, was destroyed. Bunny blasted Cool Matt. Never underestimate the man, and somehow the Outlaws have gotten back to the point here. Spitfire shunted aside.
And Nuss uses
Again, use of the word shunted. It seems to be my word of the day in this broadcast.
Valkyrie there, and Linkser takes him out right on the point. So you use that big Mercy ult, don't get much for it. As you know, when you use Valkyrie, you have to extend that fight longer, right? You need to get a lot of percentage on it. 24% isn't a ton for London. Houston's going to be able to come back and...
So now we got a little bit of third person. I think this is quite good when the timing's right, because it's a setup and the observers are ready for a big attack visor, which in a diva-dominated meta is not super likely, but I mean, it's him and Barney with ultimates on the Outlaws, so yeah, you're watching Jake.
Match this. Murdering though with an early pick, he just Linkser takes out Muma.
That was a pulse bomb that
Nice.
really did
So
most of the
dead.
damage to Muma though, but that's really nice and better.
On any hero,
Follow
picking
up.
up those 2 kills.
So now,
They give the point back.
before the fight even starts, unfortunately, Muma and Linkser, I think it was, are down. So now, you know, maybe the obs might switch to the team that doesn't control the point in this case, but I mean, it's reasonable to set up with Jake
Back
here.
to London.
But he won't do
Not
much now.
that Jake can really
He
do
pops
from
tack.
this position. He'll try and get a little bit of damage, maybe if he can find a pick, but he knows he has to eject as soon as possible. It appeared that Link's...
Do the games blend in with each other when you try to recall them? Yes. A lot of the time, yes, they do. Shadowy Misstep. Hello, Uber. Hopefully this week was restful for you. Oh, thank you. I had a holiday, but I went snowboarding and fell over like 700 times. It got really bruised, but it was a nice change and one of the most fun few days I've ever had. So I'm feeling good. Good enough to do this shit, to have to listen to my voice again. So that should be an indicator.
So maybe attempted to opt into a duel against Birdring. Muma was there, but I guess Spitfire must have just had the players that managed to jump on the fact that the Outlaws had, you know, 2 individuals that were playing away from the rest of the
So I am speculating. That's speculation. So, you know, and I'm trying to deliver it as such.
happens, but this puts the London Spitfire back in the lead, and they're looking good. Birdring, excellent.
No,
play
I
on
didn't
the
pull a
crease so far
sideshow.
in
That
this
was
round. He's
really
definitely been winning
unfortunate.
up those
Poor
head-to-heads.
guy.
This-
And he actually,
well, this
I'm pretty sure sideshow went over on a slope that I was actually pretty confident on. I think that, like, I'm a terrible snowboarder, by the way. That was my first time ever, but I ran that slope a few times. I think sideshow just went really fast, and he came down on his wrists. My gloves had wrist guards in them though, like really newbie gloves, like gloves that normally have wrist guards in them. That's pretty uncomfortable, but I tell you what, I probably saved myself breaking a wrist like multiple times. We were at Mammoth, yeah, Trampador, Mammoth. I'd never really seen snow before, and I'd never seen snowy mountains. I'd never done skiing or anything like that, so it was incredible. It was amazing.
fire release. 2 final blows, 1 death, solid.
See how sneaky he's playing. And he's just
Flash!
almost.
Watch him tack.
Jake
You won't.
The tack visor! He's
Look
trying
at
to
the move
escape.
by Bird right now.
Oh,
Get away, my friend. Oh, okay. Tactical crouch.
the team action as well. Okay, so
2 final
I know shit hits the fan when Birdring doesn't finish him off. Jake cleverly. I mean, the tack visor. Who else is Jake really going to kill? By the way, with like a player like Fury on the other team. Like, what are you going to do? So I'm getting excited about this because I can see shit's about to hit the fan.
blows, 1 death, solid.
See how sneaky he's playing. And he's just gonna
Flash!
So I'm about to chime in here. I see the flash come out, and I'm like, this is a play that might be worth a bit of play-by-play. Matt sort of, I cut Matt off here. Really, I don't give him much time, but I want to. I mean, it's not really a feed. He hits 2 shots. 76 can be hard to hit when he's ADing, and then he gets the attack visor, and Birdring has no flash. So shit happens.
almost takes out Jake. Jake gonna put down the battlefield.
The tack visor!
Yeah, I ran over the top of Matt there. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. I wanted this play for myself though, so could probably just let Matt have it.
Trying to escape. Oh, there's no way you're getting away.
No, so we're talking under each other now as well. So yeah, I didn't need to do that. Talking over Matt. I just wanted the play. I don't know if that was. I don't think that was very good for me.
1 death, solid.
See how sneaky he's playing. And he's just gonna
Flash!
almost takes out Jake. Jake gonna put down the battlefield.
The tack visor! He's
Look at
trying to
the move
escape.
by Bird
Oh,
right
there's
now.
no way you're getting away, my friend. Oh, okay. Tactical crouch. Just dropping T crates, Matt, the usual. And now Jake's gonna make his way back to the point. He's like that salty guy in quick play who knows you've got him beaten. He just pops the ult, but it worked out. Good decision from Jake. It's tough to get really good tactical visors going up against world-class divas, so he uses it to get himself out of a bind, give his team a man advantage, and deny a potential res on that position.
So I mean, I'm doing analysis about that particular fight. Yeah, I mean, it's fine. There's two sides to that argument. There's a side that's like, I should have not done that and let Matt do it because Matt's capable. It's not that I don't think he's capable of casting. It's just like it's just the child inside of me that wants to sort of take over. Kingdra, how do you know when it's the other person's turn to talk? Do you nudge each other or something when it's their turn to commentate? We have a rhythm. Matt knows when I'm done because I sort of use the tone of voice. It sounds final, right? It sounds like a big full stop on the end of my sentence. I end on a very low note, and then he knows to come in. Sometimes he doesn't. Sometimes we use hand signals, but only in like potentially awkward situations. So anyway, one side of the argument is that I shouldn't have done that. The other side is that Matt should have let go as soon as he knew I was coming in over the top. But that's the kind of stuff that it worked out okay. Could have given him that. Could have let him have it, you know.
I was shocked Birdring didn't take him out. No Birdring with the flash.
He was waiting for his flash cooldown.
Yeah, usually always able to pick those kills up. Linkzr has a Deadeye, potentially middle of the map. You use that to zone players out. You know, Deadeye, really often you're going to see like these 3 or 4Ks with the Deadeye. As Prophet will go onto the point for London, just trying to draw some players back here for Houston. Give Prophet a sign. Oh, he's going to just mow through Linkzr. Bonnie will fall at the hands of a Deadeye. Bonnie pops his Valkyrie. That is not good for Houston.
Now it's going to...
So, like, Matt is a better analyst than me, and I'm a better play-by-play caster. So, in theory, like, the best way for the casting to go is that the play-by-play is just me, and the analysis is just Matt. But it's just not possible in Overwatch. You can't do it, because there's too many things happening at all times. So, you have to be able to do both to a great degree. Maybe I might do more play-by-play than Matt. He does more analysis, but sometimes, like you can see there, he play-by-plays that fight, and it's fine. It's fine. I definitely think that that's my specialty, and Matt knows that as well. So when the big fights happen, he will, allow me to step in and just start popping off. But for stuff like this, like, Monty does it, Hex does it as well. You've got to be able to do both in this game.
Jake again to try and make something happen. I think he knows he's done. So a bit of stalling wouldn't go awry here, and he does just that. Flashed out by Birdring, removed from the situation, and it's tit for tat stuff. The pendulum swings. But as it comes back in this direction, the Spitfire have 2 support ults. To the Outlaws is 1. They used a Valkyrie in that previous fight, and it didn't win it for them.
So Matt did most of the play-by-play in that previous fight, so now you see I'm doing a lot of the post-fight analysis here.
Not ideal.
Yeah, Birdring just used the Deadeye and was able to just snipe Bonnie out of the sky. So we'll see where Houston decides to push through. Looks like they just keep wanting to go into this corner and challenge Birdring. The impulse bomb from Prophet that takes out Bonnie.
Well laid plan.
So you see, we almost get out of sync because I did the analysis in the last fight. He does the play-by-play, but what he does mid-fight is he hands it back over. He says, like, Barney dropped by a pulse bomb. I can tell by his voice. Let's go back and listen to it really closely, right? I'll show you how I can tell.
Looks like they just keep wanting to go into this corner and challenge Bird.
So I know, like, I'm on my toes now. I'm like, all right, let's go, batter up. Give me this play-by-play. Let's go. Like, I want it. And Matt knows that. He's like, okay, but I've got to hand this over in a way that doesn't seem like I'm just dropping a hot potato. So.
The impulse bomb from Prophet that takes out Bonnie.
So a pulse bomb from Prophet that takes out Bunny, right? He ends on like a lower note there. So I know straight away, and I'm gonna fucking I'm getting in there, right? And so that like you can hear I'm straight in.
Where Houston decides to push through.
I've gone back a little bit.
They just keep wanting to go into this corner and challenge Birdring. The impulse bomb from Prophet that takes out Bonnie.
Well laid plan.
Straight away, I know.
Prophet puts the pulse bomb at just the right spot. Now he's gonna ask for a little bit more, because why not? Raucous. Torn apart there by Prophet, and he'll be able to back around now, and there's really not enough time.
So this time, that was a pause that I actually used to drop the pace a little bit. I don't know if that is a great time to pause, because look at this, right? 97%. So the round's kind of over. So I probably should have kept it a little bit high and like closed out the round with a sense of finality, but I brought it down because there was no fight happening. Again, because I only got like maybe 30% of that last fight to talk or to do the play-by-play, and now I'm sort of doing the analysis and I'm just sort of dragging it out so we keep it fairly even. Okay.
For the Outlaws, that's why Prophet chased the extra kills. Rumor doesn't quite make the doorway. Oh, this is dangerous. He's gonna have to work his way back towards the point. He keeps overtime going, but he can only weave in and out. But Dosen being down might be the open.
Okay, that's fine. There was at least a fight there, so it's okay that I brought it down because now I brought it back up without throwing.
He hasn't been resurrected yet. I don't know if that's even going to happen. Nas has a Valkyrie channel, but he hasn't brought Bedosin back. That's Birdring, though, off from the side. He cleans up Coolm out, of course, with that Deadeye, and it should all fall apart from here. Lynx is forced to back away from Prophet. He's getting healing from Nas. He's looking good. He's topped up. He's ready to go. And a Spitfire. They're off the runway, Matt.
Ha ha ha, plane-related jokes. Ha ha, runway, ha ha. Anyway, just to make it a little bit more colourful. Okay, I'm going to do one more round, because I've been at this for 2 hours now. And I've gone through, I'd say, about 20 minutes of game time. Okay. Thanks, Scattle, for the kind words, mate. I appreciate it.
Birdring 9 limbs, 6 final blows. Prophet 12 limbs, 7 final blows. Just both of those players playing great. We're going to have Well that comes up next, so not going to see Ruins come into equation yet. We're going to see Well, maybe we see...
I think sometimes it feels a bit forced when you... Oh, okay, let me address this properly. When you artificially hype the end of the round just because it's the end, and even if there's... Well, it's not artificial. For me, it's not artificial. Like, the round is over because there's a transition occurring, right? So, it's a bookend. It's a bookend to the round. And I try and leave it on something short and let the crowd breathe a little bit. There is a climax... Like, you gotta understand, there is a climax occurring in the round, regardless of whether there's a fight there. So as a viewer, you watch it and you see that number go from the Magic 99 to the 100, right? And there's a release, there's a relief there. So I'm not. So if you ever see this happening, it's not. I'm not hyping the last 10 seconds of the fight where nothing's happening. But as the round wins, I bring it up a little bit because the lights are on. The crowd is cheering, regardless if there was a big fight or not to end the round or not. So I just match the energy a little bit at the end of the round because there's a sense of release there. Right? There's a tension of the game, and then the cork pops out. So it's not. I understand what you're trying to say. It's not artificial though, because I'm channeling the cheers, I guess, of the crowd who's supporting the team that won the round. So I know that, because trust me, what could be really weird, at least in my opinion, is that if I'm really low and the crowd's really high, you have this discontinuity between the overall atmosphere of the broadcast. So sometimes, like, I don't go too high. In that game there as well, there was a sort of short fight at the end. And importantly, what's most importantly about this is that the Spitfire lost the first map, and they just won. They won the first round on Ilios. So it's like there's also a sense of there's a shift in the balance. Okay, there's a team that was, getting battered, and now they're getting wins. So there's a triumph. There's a sense of victory there, even if it's only the first round. So it's not. I guess so. To explain that to you a bit more, it's not me just hyping it because for the sake of it. There are elements that I'm drawing from there that culminate in my energy being a little bit higher. And again, it's very important to keep that flow going, because I sort of we're up and down a little bit, right? So I bring it up, like with a bit of excitement, like the map's over and now we've got another team, now we've got a game, sort of thing. Because again, they've been losing prior to this point, and then we can sort of bring that back down again with some analysis, some discussion, and then we bring it straight back up here at the start of the next map. And like again, it's a different kind of excitement at the start of the next round, right? It's an expectation, it's an anticipation of what's to come. So we feed a little bit more energy back in, and then let the game take the rest of it. No, it's fine, Costco. It's a good discussion. It's a good point to have. I think like this is something that I want to talk about. But we do get some mad anticlimactic ends to rounds, because just the way the round works and just stuff like that. But I'm hooking into the crowd and the narrative as well as what we're seeing on the screen, I guess, which is why sometimes when people are only looking for one thing or looking at one thing, they can be a little bit confused as to why I'm hyping a situation.
Think though about seeing a 76 and McCree played into a composition on the London Spitfire side that doesn't actually have a Farah.
Well, what's interesting is
yeah, so like we're seeing that 76 on this map from Jake. So like double hit scan. It's like double hit scan being played into. It's not bad. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's normally a comp you'd see to answer a Farah.
If Houston maybe switched to Junkrat, they actually would have put up a good fight there, right? Because you could have just spammed. You knew where Birdring played the same spot the entire game. You could have just spammed that whole left-hand side. It would have made him just move, change his direction.
You want to play double hit scan, but there's no Farah to try and pressure. Yeah. There was no Farah. That's the problem. Interesting. Obviously,
double hit scan gets trashed by D.Va as well, because all your effort just goes bye-bye into the Korean future vacuum. So, okay. When you first started casting Overwatch, were you ever in a situation where you couldn't follow the observer screen, and how'd you deal with that? I cast small tournaments, and I'm usually in that situation because I cast remotely. Awesome cast, by the way. I constantly use fancy footwork during cast because of you. That's great. Quad, bad observing is really hard to cast. I've done a lot of casting remotely and stuff like that. Oh, I don't know what you're saying. When you don't know what the observer's seeing. I used to do this with ZP in the Overwatch monthly melee all the time. He would be observing and casting, and I would be casting, but I couldn't tell what he was showing the audience. So what you do then, you need to go a little bit more big picture. I fly around in free cam, and I try and follow the action. You can still play by play the action, but you need to have the constant understanding that this action might not be being shown on screen. So instead of talking about an individual player's mechanical nuances, you talk a little bit about the impact of kills on the team fight itself, right? So you need to say, let's say the cameraman's watching Isaiah, right? But you've just seen a Tracer get killed. You've gone, oh, the Tracer's missing, and now that mobility or that flexibility or the dive potential is going to be missing for this attacking team who's just lost that Tracer. So despite the fact that there's Isaiah on the screen, you're avoiding being too specific about the movements of a player that you're watching, because you don't know if the audience can see that. So you get big picture, right? You get big idea. You go from more of a top-down view of the fight. And I also find that if I don't have observer control, I default to more of a color analysis style, which I've done it before. I cast color with ZP. I cast color with D-Man. I cast color with a bunch of people in the past, so like I can do that fine. If the person observing isn't casting, then you need to do play-by-play, but keep a bigger picture. Okay. Casters we do have an overhead. We have a map. We don't use a free cam. We have a map and this observer feed.
Decision for them on that composition. It's a bit safer to bring a 76, but McCree is by no means, safe and maneuverable in those scenarios.
And now they bring Junkrat in. So Jake will play Junkrat here on well. See if it swings the tide in Houston's favor.
Jester has a Discord Orban in there. He has to be careful trying to back away, but Linksa catches him in the heel.
Junkrat is quite susceptible to McCree out in the open, so this is tough for Jake. I mean, you can't play Farah here, and also Houston don't really, they don't channel a lot of Farah. You don't see it much from them. Jake prefers not to play it. He would normally be that Farah individual, which is kind of, I believe, why Houston sort of picked up Mendo to have him in that role, but they prefer to play this kind of style. So Jake is going to be under a lot of pressure from Birdring, but also Linksa can pressure Prophet in the same way. Birdring, this is the beginning of him just starting to wreck people. This is when Birdring just starts going nuts.
Fury's going to have to retreat as well. The rest of the Spitfire now.
It's a one-for-one trade, so there's no reason for the Outlaws to back away completely.
One-on-one across the map against Linksa.
Oh,
the very satisfying sound of those headshots indicating that Birdring is finding his mark.
So again, that's an interesting phrase. The satisfying sound of those headshots indicating that Birdring is finding his mark. That's probably obvious, right? But this is how I'm maybe trying to add a bit more color into the tapestry a bit more. So it's kind of obvious, but there's a story being told here, and Birdring now is, the observers have realized that Birdring is a focus. We're going to see a lot more of him.
Kills, as is often the case with McCree, but those first few shots open up for his tanks to finish off these kills.
So there, I point out that Birdring is setting up his tanks and his Tracer in Prophet to get these kills. And you can see Prophet's doing just that right now. Prophet is following up on the damage that Birdring has done to Raucus, but Coolmat is trying to peel.
Oh, Raucus compromising position.
And it works. He forces the recall out of Prophet, so that's really nice from Coolmat. Raucus gets healed up, he's landing on the health pack.
And they already have Gesture back into
really nice from
Jake comes in for Houston, but it'll be Prophet.
Oh, see, like if Junkrat ever goes out into the open, he's going to get smashed. It's not a great map for him.
Gets in, takes out Linkser. Oh man, Prophet just running through.
How many kills? 3 for Prophet?
Outlaws. They have
Probably 4. Linkser just stands there and takes it.
Linkser just stand still and take it, son. The Spitfire now.
So, Prophet there following up on kills. Actually, someone tweeted at me here, and I had to think about this. I said, Linkser, just stand there and take it, son. Someone tweeted at me saying, like, that's vaguely, you're vaguely referencing sexual assault or something like that. Like, look, I know people tweet a bunch of dumb stuff, but I'm not the kind of person that just thinks everyone's stupid and has no reason for tweeting at me. But this particular individual, I saw the tweet come through, and it wasn't very polite how they sort of explained that. She was just like, okay, can you just stop making vaguely sexually assault related comments? I'm like, oh, okay. I saw the rainbow in this person's name, and I figured out that they were passionate about social justice. So But I thought about it. I had to think about this because, of course, I'm not making rapey comments as I cast, but these things work the way into your lexicon and your vocabulary, and you have to think to yourself, is this an appropriate way of describing this kill? Obviously, I'm getting a bit more excited. I'm going, oh yeah, like, you know, take that. But it's like, even if I don't agree with the person, and obviously the person is an SJW or whatever, is there a grain of truth here, and is there a better way of doing this? So this is what, you know, I'm trying to, I hope to give this impression to people that, I'll be honest, your feedback definitely isn't going to be as pertinent to me as another professional in my industry, but it doesn't mean I don't think about it. And it doesn't mean I don't try and judge the feedback someone gives me on its merits. Even if I turn around and decide that I'm not interested in that feedback or it doesn't affect me, it's still worth considering, right? I don't watch Reddit all the time. I don't do it during the game all the time. I'm not married to what people say about me. None of us are. It's nice that people want to comment or want to, you know, share their thoughts on stuff, but sometimes Reddit is just a pain in the ass to look at. But sometimes there is a grain of truth. The reason why a lot of casters don't look at Reddit or don't go deep is because it's fucking exhausting to try and find the good feedback nestled in amongst the absolute nonsense. That's what I want to say on that one. So there are a lot of people out there that are just as smart as me, and if not smarter, plenty of people that are smarter than me, and they have good things to say. And I feel for them because sometimes they're what they say is going to be buried in these torrents of absolute shit that comes from everyone else who just wants to throw their banality out into the void of the internet and hope that someone receives their message like the Hubble Space Telescope, trying to capture the expanses of space. But feedback is important. I don't go looking for it on Reddit, but if I come across it incidentally and it seems reasonable, I'll take it on board.
Coming up with the goods. And again, Prophet and Birdring looking incredibly comfortable. Jake and Linksa, not so much. Jake now switching off the Junkrat to the Tracer. Gives some mobility, gives some flexibility. Also some capacity to pressure backliners.
So again, Jake switches to Tracer. Why? Why does he do this and why is it important? And straight away I try and tell you that he has mobility, he has flexibility because he can get out of jail free, and he can hit the backline of the Spitfire. Pressure Birdring even.
Allows them to play as aggressive as London is playing right now. And before, they were just kind of having to play a little bit defensive, you know, just trying to get these picks. They're not able to do it. Bedosen takes out Bonnie at the beginning. Now Houston.
I've seen the Rap God video. Thanks,
really
X-Pro Azos.
Spitfire.
It's a great video. I appreciate the guy that put it together. But oh yeah, if you see this, by the way, a lot of people tweet me that video. I have seen it. I've definitely seen it. And I enjoyed it. So if you're wondering if I've seen it, I've definitely seen it.
Who has Valkyrie, not going to use it right now. You know,
I should have said Jake switched to Tracy because he's sucking. It was okay. It's just Junkrat in open ground against McCree is pretty tough to deal with.
London's going to get a lot of percentage out of this.
Bedosen again, pretty much wins a fight single-handedly.
He gets a so Bedosen gets a first pick. So important in this fight because Jake just switched to Tracer to try and overcome the fact that he's being shut down by Birdring. So what does he do? He runs into another wall in the form of Bedosen. So I'm identifying and I'm getting a bit loud because this guy is struggling. You know. Hello, everybody from Soonstream. Thank you very much for coming by. Sorry if I speak fast and I'm a little bit hard to understand. What I'm doing here is I'm reviewing the VOD, right? I'm reviewing my casting. So I'm talking about the things I say that are good, the bad, the ugly, and discussing how the games work. So thank you for coming. I'm actually only going to be doing this for maybe a little bit longer, but it's nice to have you on board anyway. If you've got any questions, you can ask in chat. I'll try it and interact, but what we're doing right now is we're critiquing my casting, and we're all having a discussion about it. So glad to have you here.
Birdring just looks to compound the issue, but Linksa gives him a peek, tempts him into taking the Deadeye shot, and he goes for it.
So I said Birdring's looking to compound the issue, right? It's another way of saying Birdring's trying to make this worse for the Outlaws, right? He pulls the Deadeye, hoping that, you know, someone from the Outlaws is out in the open. He also, crucially, using the Deadeye, I'll go back a bit, I'll show you. Using the Deadeye, he forces the Outlaws sort of away. And we use the zoning alt joke a fair bit, but this is quite important. If there are players from the Outlaws that are still inside this building here, they're screwed. They either have to fight these guys, they either have to face the Deadeye, or they have to get out. So there's no chance while this Deadeye is being channeled that the Outlaws can actually contest the point safely. The only person that can do so is here, Linksa, because the rest of the Spitfire are here. So this is actually a zoning ultimate. This is actually what it is. It's the Spitfire getting a few extra kills. I assume that Birdring's also hoping to get something else, you know, off the back of that as well. But that's the point of this all. When's the Stage 2 preview Watchpoint VOD coming out? That's a good question. I think should be soon. It's been recorded already. The problem is that that Watchpoint episode was recorded before all this news came in, so it's kind of a bit outdated now. But I hope you guys still enjoy it. I wasn't on the show. That was Doa and stuff like that. But yeah, hopefully you like it. What's up, Hexgrams? What's up, my fam? Anyway, let's keep going.
An early pick. Birdring just looks to
So Linksa, that's really smart from Linksa, right? He peeks, he has a shot. Birdring has to cancel. He obviously gets he gets a reload off it, so it's really not that bad for Birdring. But you know, he relieves the pressure on the rest of the Outlaws who were being kept under the thumb by this Deadeye. Linksa, all he has to do is just go for a peek, take a shot. Birdring loses his nerve, cancels the Deadeye, and then tries to shoot him. Clever. But guess what happens? Straight away, there's the engage, right? So Lynx is out of position to a degree. He had to extend a little bit to try and deal with Birdring. Cheeky gets the shot. Now he's about to get his face punched in.
He gives him a peek, tempts him into taking the Deadeye shot, and he goes for it. Now,
However,
finally...
that was a little bit of like a breather that the Outlaws have a little bit of a breather, some time to recover from the carnage that occurred here. So, you know, Banny can come in and get some resurrects here. Lynx is definitely going to stay dead, but Bedosin can also get res up.
Down, a bit of a resurrect here for Nas to bring him back up. He's been such a menace. Birdring now getting harassed by Jake. He didn't even know where that came from. He just knows he got hurt. He was down to 70 on HP.
So that's interesting. Obviously Birdring's getting harassed by Jake. And I said, he didn't even know where that came from, you know, like it just kind of happened and he wasn't looking, right? So do I know for sure he didn't know where that came from? No, not really. I can't claim to know what this guy's thinking, but what I'm trying to do maybe is just incorporate a little bit of like, what if you were in that position, right? What if you just see all these red markers come up on your reticle? Like, where's that damage coming from? So I'm trying to add a little bit in, it's speculative, I'll admit, but I'm trying to add in a little bit of an idea on what he must be feeling at that moment. You know, that's kind of important because it allows us to. I guess I'm trying to help the viewer relate to the player a little bit, and as long as I don't do that incorrectly or go too far, I think it's fine. Who would you say plays Overwatch the most out of the casters / desk talent? Mr. X probably plays the most Overwatch out of all of us, I think.
Lisa being resurrected. Gesture trying to hold the door, and now time for the private rage here. Lisa would like to get out of here. Raucus needs to be careful. Getting knocked into the pit by a Winston with trans is not ideal. Looks like the Spitfire happy to wait it out though. Prophet and Birdring once again chime in, find their picks, and Raucus is all on his own. No one coming to save him this time. Lisa's a little bit late to the party. He'll fall before Cormac gets involved. London.
So this is a long fight. This is an extended fight. So I pass over to Matt here because there's a lot of stuff just happening, and maybe Matt has seen something that I haven't seen while I've been doing all this play-by-play, and he can add it in to to his commentary now as he's play-by-playing the last moments of this fight.
Has been dominant here on Ilios. Both support ults used for the Houston Outlaws. London able to hold on to the point. They will have another Deadeye, and they will have Transcendence for what will most likely be the final fight here.
So he does that. So Matt is now establishing expectations. He sets the scene, talks about the ultimates, and crucially, he says what might be the final fight. So now we're delivering, I guess, an expectation to the audience, those who maybe aren't able to develop that themselves. Most of you guys who watch Overwatch, you're not dumb. You know exactly what's going on, right? But this is the story. Now it's the last fight for the Outlaws. There's a lot on the line. It allows me to get into gear and to build this up into what will be a crescendo, a climax in this round.
Houston have not been a presence on this map whatsoever. If there's any time to go, Matt, it's got to be now. But
again, so I say, like, if there's any time to go, it's got to be now. So I'm reinforcing perhaps that it is go time. Banny's getting harassed here really badly though, so it might be a fairly short fight.
Banny, again, harassed down by Prophet, doesn't find a kill. You can't believe it. It's both Banny and Lucas.
So good.
The weary and Prophet for him is just too easy. The London Spitfire are back, and this is just such a commanding lead. There's no chance. It's unassailable. And they'll make it a 1-1 series. Prophet.
I'll go back and we'll review that cast, that part again. Mr. X is from Long Island. Okay. So the pulse. When I see the pulse bomb, I'm already getting excited because he's sick pulse bomb. So
on this map whatsoever. If there's any time to go, Matt, it's got to be now. But Banny.
Time to go.
Again, harassed
Prophet harassing.
Doesn't find a kill, but a pulse bomb will do the job. You better believe it.
I've got to be careful that I use "you better believe it" a little bit too often recently. So I need to start recycling that out of my active vocabulary and finding another way to affirm or answer my own question, I guess, you know, than that. Yeah, okay.
Both Buddy and Raucous go the way of the weary.
So instead of saying they die, I say they go the way of the weary. So again, it's just another way of just trying to mix it up a little bit there. What do you think of the academy teams? Which one? I mean, I just got back from the mountain, so I haven't looked at it too closely. I think the Gladiators one looks good. I like the Spitfire one. The Spitfire team, the Hurricanes, looks really good. I don't know, you might have to be more specific with that one, perhaps. Pretty good all-purpose phrase, not too noticeable. Yeah, it is true. You better believe it. But like, I can do better. I can do better than using the same phrase like 3 times.
And profit for him is just too easy.
It's just too easy, which is true.
Spitfire now answer back, and this is just such a commanding lead. There's no chance. It's unassailable.
So what I've done here is I've gone, in those last few moments, I've gone overarching. So we talked about profit. You better believe it. He got 2 pulse bombs. And I've said, you know, they've built such a lead. Like, they've been on point this entire game. Like, they're back. It's a 1-on-1 series. We're now, like, we're even the ledger. So as the camera zooms out, so do I, in terms of what I'm talking about, in terms of like what I'm discussing, what the issues are here.
And they'll make it a 1-1 series.
And again, I'll tell you the score, because you should be telling people the score. And then Matt, straight in, hitting me with some stats.
That is more final blows than Jake and Linkser combined. Just a dominant performance from Prophet there on the Tracer. Houston had 0 answer for him throughout that entire map.
I've noticed a lot of people use the overtime wickets burning. Yes, I mean, I overuse overtime ticks down. It is purely a matter of sitting down and going, how many fucking ways can we come up with to say the same thing? And sometimes we do it well, sometimes we don't. You know, I don't sit down and write out things to say all the time. I really don't. Jokes and stuff, I don't write them down. So it's instinctive. A lot of this casting it has to be instinctive. You can't come into Overwatch and like prepare all these lines, because you just never know if you're going to get to use them, and you have to be able to respond to the action like you're there, like it's happening as you see it. It's all improv. So sometimes there are phrases that get overused a lot in improv, and they need to be recycled. It requires a conscious effort to come up with a new way of saying it. I'm not saying there isn't any other way to say it, because of course there is. There definitely is another way of saying it. But you'll see that happen from time to time. Casters will repeat sayings, and if people want to object to that, that's fine. That's okay. I mean, if they got to complain about something, then that's fine. You can complain about that, because sure, we'd like to do better, always, but it's tough. How often do you go over phrasing? You are arguably one of the more creative casters, so I'm interested to know how much damn time. I don't sit down and go over things. Like some things, like earlier in this series, I don't know if you were here, I said that I said like the top speed of a Spitfire is 300 miles an hour, and the Outlaws are, you know, much faster right now. Like I looked that up. I looked that number up, right? But it's just like opportunistically, sometimes I might think of something and go, oh, let's like get some factual basis to this, or you know. But normally I'm just there. I'm just experiencing the game with you guys, and I'm trying to put it into words with what I have at my disposal, which is my vocabulary, my memory, my education, and I'm trying to package it up and give it to you. So sometimes it doesn't always go perfectly. And in Overwatch, it's about 20 times faster than any other sport. So like most sports, some traditional sports commentators have a lot of time to think of these things, cricket or baseball or whatever. Sometimes they don't. We have to be faster than them. We have to be faster than them. Yeah, the grains are running out. The sand timer is expiring. You know, there are tons of ways. So there are tons of ways of saying it. Yes. So there you go. What's up, friends? Welcome back, man.
Some relief is there for the Spitfire, a confidence boost as well. You know, Outlaws are brash talk.
Well, it is quicker than, so someone says quicker than CSGO. It is quicker. CSGO actually has like more downtime, and like as a CSGO caster in the past, having cast some fairly high level CS stuff, I will tell you that CS is more up and down quicker. So it's like you're up, then you're down. In Overwatch, it's like up and down, a little bit more in between, but Overwatch definitely has much more play-by-play, because in CS you have set plays, you have setups and rounds, you have, you know, teams that rotate, you have all these things, right? Overwatch is like you don't have a chance to take a breath. It just doesn't happen. So you have to work within that capacity, and all of us will tell you it's the hardest game we've ever cast. Myself and Semler definitely think it's harder than CSGO, and all the rest. So Yeah, hockey. Hockey's a good one. Hockey is very, very fast. But yeah. I had to be better than them. Well, I mean, I don't really. I like traditional sports, but I don't really compare my casting. Well, yes and no. I take elements from traditional sports casters that I enjoy, but you know. Ben Graham said to say Elijah. Okay, what's up, Elijah? Okay, let's get this. Let's get this done.
Walking boys coming up the stage with a lot to show, but the Spitfire have a lot to prove. Last time it was 3-1 in favour of the Outlaws, but they're back. They want that title match. They want the Stage 1 championship. We've got more in this best of 5 to come after this.
It's a shame I didn't get to catch up with One Amongst Many and Stylosa when they were here. But so what I did there, just really quickly, in my head, I have a countdown. They're gonna throw to break, and I hear 10, 9, 8, 7. So they're counting down, and
But the Spitfire have a lot to prove.
I'm saying this right now. I'm feeling this time in was saying like, what's happening now? What's the next map? What's at stake?
We've got more in this best of 5 to come after this.
So it's a bit tricky because I'm not usually used to this, but I have like, I'm given a countdown and I have to like fit all the words in there and just like send it off to the break. So it could be a bit tricky. What game do I like casting more? CS, Overwatch, League, Water Tanks? Overwatch, because it's more challenging and it's more fun. And in my opinion, it's a more enjoyable game. The bigger question is, do you thrive for the challenge? And Aussie commentator Goku, if you will. Yeah, absolutely. I love the challenge. It was great. Ski trip was good. How do I feel about the Valiant in Stage 2? Good. I feel really good. I feel good about them in Stage 1 in general, actually. I have a real soft spot for the Los Angeles Valiant, personally, because of the Frenchy boys on there. You know, my bros from way back. You know, if there were a team that I was a big fan of, it definitely would be the Valiant. I really like the Fusion, and I really like the Dallas Fuel. And it's more because of the people. I just know the people better, right? I like the Fusion because they're my Euro bros. Like, we came up in the same scene together. I love Fraggy and all those guys. And obviously, you know, guys like Custer and Timey, all these people that I've known for so long. So that's, you know, if I really had to say the teams that I don't think about it too much. And I'm not ever going to go and buy a team jersey and wear it. And I'm never going to be a fanboy. I guess my favorite teams are just the people I know better, if that makes sense. But it's important that doesn't obviously show in casting. I should cast Call of Duty with Mr. X. I used to cast Call of Duty. I cast Call of Duty 4 on PC. That was where I first started. Me and Mr. X would have a lot of fun casting COD now, though, that's for sure.
The Overwatch League is
I haven't been watching Dragon Ball Super yet. I plan to check it out, but I haven't got around to it yet.
Intel, the official computer processor.
Semler an NYXL fan? No. Semler's a Los Angeles boy, so I don't know. What about non-team specific Al merch? Yeah, I've got a jacket on. I like that stuff. I just don't care much. My background on my PC is like, it's just a slideshow of all the teams, like all the teams, like just backgrounds of each team. You know, I have like 2 skins from each team in game. Like every hero has an Overwatch League skin, and they're all like related to my favorite players. Like my Genji is a fusion one for Shadowburn. You know, my Reinhardt is a Gladiators one for iRemix. You know, my Diva is a Zumba. You know, it's a Soul Dynasty one. My McCree. You know, like that's how I sort of choose my skins. Just like a player that stood out to me, and I just like all the teams, bro. What's the specs of my computer? Intel i7 7700 K, I guess, and a GeForce NVIDIA 1080 Ti, which I got for free. Thank you very much, NVIDIA Germany. Free shit. Free shit is good. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do 1 round of this next map, and then I'm going to fucking go and cook some food. No, I had to buy the tokens. I bought 2,600 tokens, though. I spent all the money. No, it's not a hipster. I mean, like, I watched iRemix for ages, man.
Between the...
Yeah, okay. Let's just cut through this.
Focus. We'll see it.
A little bit salty about losing that match to the Outlaws.
And Malik looks good in red, man.
How interesting. I mean, look.
Okay. So let's look at my intro.
We are all tied up 1-1. I think it's safe to say that London was a little bit salty about losing that match to the Outlaws earlier this week, and they're trying to get revenge. They're getting their run back right now.
This guy, I love this
and
guy, man. He's so good. So natural. It's just
Let's find out.
relatable.
Over to our casters,
Love me some Malik.
Mr. X and Uber.
Thank you very much, Malik. Now,
Thumbs up.
seems to have flipped, I guess, entirely in the direction of the Houston Outlaws.
I needed a haircut.
Sideshow saying that, you know, London needed obviously a 2-map lead to start.
Look at my
with. Do you
hands.
agree with this assessment?
Well, look, the next 3 maps are very good for the Houston Outlaws. They took out London on 2 of them.
So I try and look at Matt when he's looking at me, and then look at the camera when he looks at the camera.
For the London Spitfire. So they're going to keep the same roster in that we saw in Ilios. The only change that they made so far this series, with the roster.
The Mercy change
players,
is good,
expect a lot
friends.
of subs. It was just Huyo who played map 1. Fury has come in.
She was
since
broken.
Then. The other day when
Yeah,
they
I haven't got
played,
any
they
Sour
had
Patch Kids either.
Hugapur
Where the
and
fuck
Closer
is
in.
my Sour Patch
As their
Kids?
supports, they're going to leave the Dosen and
Jeff,
Dust in the
please.
game this time.
Give me
How
my sweets.
interesting. I mean, we talked about this team initially being formed of, you know, mostly, you know, the Kongdu lineup and then Jisoo Busan, and they've just meshed completely together now. And of course, they're at the point clearly where they can just go with whoever they choose, depending on the situation. So the Outlaws...
So, backstory. That whole talk was backstory because we're coming into a map now. It's an even series. We talked a little bit about the previous map, but then like, hey, let's talk a bit about the Spitfire for maybe people that don't know them too much. Like, let's talk about their origins and where they came from. It's just a bit of flavor, a bit of color. You know, it's history, and some people know it. Many of the viewers might know it, but a lot of our viewership, the majority of our viewership are not hardcore monthly melee, you know, Overwatch fans. They're new. They're getting into the game. They're getting excited about it, and you know, I want them to know about this stuff. Thoughts on the Sombra changes? It's really interesting actually. I kind of like her being geared more towards being a DPS, but that hack duration being short is pretty scary. But I mean, it's fun because she doesn't get ult charge from health packs anymore, so she'll be used completely differently. I kind of like the idea of her being used more aggressively a little bit. We'll see. We'll see.
They have gone up against a Spitfire on this map before, but not the same lineup. Not exactly. Perhaps there's some surprises in store from the Spitfires.
Jeez, Mitch,
You
spit it
also
out.
have to think too, with players as good as London has, and you know how great their coaching staff is that the more games you play against the team, you get used to their play style, right? You get used to their looks, what they're going to do in different types of situations in terms of, you know, ult usage.
Yeah,
and
Thor is
whatnot.
great. He's
You know,
a
maybe
funny bastard.
London, you know, they get some more looks at Houston. They're able to crack this code of how do we dive against this Junkrat on the opposing side.
Now, the setup will be the Houston Outlaws on defense. And when you see that early main, you know that they're going to have a little bit of, you know, tank presence on the high ground.
The green wall.
And Banny just basically speeding Links it back so he can quickly switch.
Matt, of course, Codcaster notes that there was a green wall. Pretty controversial. What's the team you root for? Like I just said, Elijah, the teams I like in Overwatch League are the kind of the people that I know, the players that I know. So, I guess the Valiant, the Fusion, and the Fuel, I kind of know them the best, but I don't really root for one team. I just kind of like them all, really. You know, I'd like to get to know teams like London and Seoul a little bit better, and it's been a bit tough to do so because obviously the language barrier. But you know, and it often means that I'm going to hit you with more information about some of these Western teams because I don't always have the chance to like hang out with the Korean dominated teams. So it's a shame, but hopefully I can work on it.
To the Widowmaker and still have time to set up properly. So
I see some questions in chat. I'm just going to try and focus a bit more on the casting just for now. We'll get to them after.
Lynx is going to be standing behind a big old barrier, whereas Birdring's going to have to go it alone.
So we're talking about the fact that they've used the Mei. There's the green wall, okay? The Mei sets the Orisa up on the high ground, and then Lynxer now has a shield to stand behind. So obviously he has a huge advantage in a 1v1 fight against Birdring. Birdring now can't really peek Lynxer, because even though the guy could hit him, and he does, there's still a barrier that he needs to get through. So will we even see Widow from Birdring? But no, that high ground position for the Orisa is really powerful. And it's a matter of now getting them off that purge, and you can't take a direct approach now to attacking point A as a Spitfire because Orisa's there.
You will probably see Birdring switch unless they're able. Well, actually, so this is like one of the luxuries of the London Spitfire, right? You know, Prophet can run Genji here. You can have that dive go up towards that high ground, and maybe you can create some space for Birdring.
So again, the question is, how do you break this defensive setup on the Outlaws? Because it's kind of tough to beat sometimes.
They'll land some shots.
See, this is annoying as fuck. You've got Muma Links Bunny there, so you've got a damage-boosted Widowmaker sitting behind a fucking Orisa shield. So when you see this, and there you see Birdring's not even going to play Widow, this is definitely the smarter approach. Birdring can access this high ground, but he needs to blink across from the right-hand side. Obviously, Prophet and Gesture and Fury can directly access that with their individual mobility. So they have the tools to try and overload this part of the map. We'll see how they do it, though.
As Widowmaker.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's about to get hot. No, it's not, because we're in the desert. It's time for map 3.
Said like that there was just a call to action for the crowd, get them fired up. It's map 3, it's even. I'm talking to the crowd saying, let's get excited. I like doing that. I like the cheers fuel me. Just like fanboy tears fuel Monty, the happiness of viewers fuels me. Maybe not a fair comparison maybe to make, but let's be honest, it's true.
One apiece here. Once again, Cool Matt acting as the vanguard for this team.
Again, that common theme of Cool Matt being the one who goes out first, the scout, the vanguard, the guy that's deployed ahead of the rest of the troops to get that information.
Reading the team composition and the setup.
Remember, he doesn't get to see the team comp. You can't see the team comp by tabbing until after, 15 seconds or something? So Matt can give it to his team a little bit quicker, give them just a little bit of an advantage or early notice.
Here for the Spitfire, relaying that information back to his teammates.
He's got to be careful, though. I mean, he's still...
If you and Monty touch, do you destroy each other like matter and antimatter? Why do you think me and Monty never cast before? If we get put in a booth, we have, it just forms a black hole, and everything just gets sucked into it.
Up on that higher archway. Now he's going to start to...
Horology, that's a great word to use. I'll think about it.
Connect with some shots, so instead of a halt hook combination, you're going with a halt and then a Widowmaker.
So you can see what the Spitfire are trying to get up on the high ground here, because that's the only way they can get their Tracer in a position to dive these guys, and they just want to try and deny this from Banny and Jake. If the Spitfire can play from here, then it's like much more of an even playing field, right? Muma has to redeploy his shield correctly angled now to deal with this left approach. Banny and Jake could get caught, if the Spitfire managed to pick them out. It's just a good way for London to try and even the playing field.
Your headshot here. See if they can open it up.
And Jake doesn't want that to happen, of course. And so he's got Cool Matt to help him now as well. So Jester comes in from the side. Jake has to get out. He gets caught in a trap though. Great work by Jake to drop a trap down just before he leaves. It's really smart. If he doesn't do that, Jester probably survives. Cool Matt probably has to give up that high ground and back away. But they got Raucus anyway. Birdring manages to get... I think Raucus is on the ground. I think he gets picked off.
See the bad trap finding its
Yeah, he was on the
Jake
ground.
quickly getting out of dodge and leaving a little bit of a present behind. It's a 1-for-1 though. Raucus was felled. Fanny's able to bring him back to life now, and you can see there's a constant concern about a player behind the setup.
So I'm trying to explain to you why we're seeing Jake 180 all the time. He knows that I think it was Prophet, or Birdring, sorry, is lurking. The Gladiators try a very similar approach, a setup like this one. I think it was against the Valiant. Sureforce spent ages out here on the attacking side, and it didn't quite work out. But Jake, I'm telling you why he's constantly checking and reminding the viewer that there's a threat embedded in the backline of the Outlaws here that that they need to be worried about.
Up on the Outlaws here.
Yes, Birdring has gotten behind enemy lines. So he played Widowmaker for a quick second, now went over to Tracer.
Jake does not like that at all.
No, and we've seen them have, a lot of teams have some issues, right? Where one player gets stuck, behind point A here, and they're not able to get that guy back in the equation, but...
So Jester's struggling to get in position to dive with full health, but Nuss is obviously a little bit ahead in terms of his Valkyrie, so he's been healing him a lot. But again, this is another sort of failed dive, and I don't think Nuss can res this. Well, obviously he can't, it's too dangerous, so this might end the push here.
It'll be London with the push again.
Cool Matt, ice cold. Great response to Jester's positioning there, and just follow.
Yeah, something small, right? Cool Matt, ice cold. We've got a bit of a picture of him now, so it's kind of cool to talk about what he's doing. And he's about to fuck some nerds up. Looking for the Bedosin here. Now, importantly, what he's actually doing here as well, defense matrixing Raucus while firing to make sure that his Zen, they don't lose the Zen and have to use a res on it.
He's up and down. Oh, the micro rockets! Not much of Bedosin left there. And Nuts can't even bother going for the resurrect. The Outlaws are slapping back in the face of the Spitfire. Not allowing them to infiltrate the defenses. Now there might be some stagger action here. We've seen this from a few teams, Matt. This one player on the attack, flanking wide. There's two this time, though.
Yes, there's two. Prophet and Birdring now are stuck all the...
This is where it all goes wrong for the Outlaws, I think. It's what we talk about. It's like, guys, don't forget, there's two players. The Spitfire have purposely split themselves up to try and win this fight. So that's, the viewers should know that this is like potentially, this is not what you would expect. This is a little bit risky, perhaps.
Way in the back, as Cool Matt just kind of darting around back there looking for him. Prophet getting close to a blade. Maybe this is a set play from London.
Double support ults here for the Outlaws. They need to pick up support first, London. If they want to make
nice, they force Banny across.
He's low. Now he's going for the Valkyrie. He's going to get that out of combat regeneration instantly. It's going to help his durability.
Did you hear that? So it's a small thing, right? But I told you that Banny has used his Valkyrie. He actually gets away, which is important. Banny's important in this fight because he's going to be getting his double res. So is Nuss. But I said he's used his Valkyrie. He's going to get that out of combat regeneration immediately, right? Which is the reason why he didn't die when he was dived on by Gesture. So it's a little bit of technical information that I've tried to slide in or just, interpose, whatever the friggin' word is. It's there, in between. It's like a sandwich, right? Of actual fucking analysis in between my bread of nonsense. So you at least kind of know why that's important. In that case, why it saved his life.
In this fight, and then Jake descends upon Gesture once again. The Dragonblade finds Linksa, but it instantly rezzed out. Prophet doesn't care about your tire. He's going to slash your tires. You ain't leaving the garage today.
So I didn't see Prophet getting those kills until he got them. I forgot, that's a great point. I was actually supposed to get a drawing tool set up for this screen, and I forgot to do it. Interject, no, not interject. Interpose, I think, just to play something between two. So Prophet gets a kill. I said, he's going to slash your tire. Someone tweeted at me, and they're right, I missed a great opportunity. Why? I would have got shit on for this, but I could have said like a crazy girlfriend, but I would get wrecked by the... There are a lot of people that follow Overwatch that feel very strongly about certain things, and saying that the tire gets slashed by a crazy girlfriend could be construed as misogynistic. So I wouldn't have said it, but it would have been funny. But I said he's not going to leave the garage today. So again, we're tying in a bit of color, a bit of flair, a bit of fun. Interspersed probably is the word, yeah.
Getting the DC on Fury and removing Prophet with that self-destruct, and then he finds a third. Doshin down. Birdring trying to deal with Drake, but he's forced into a recall, and now when he has 80 HP, Lynx is looking for him. He's on the...
See that? I try and refer to his health there, because he's used recall. He's fucked. He's used recall, and he's got 55 HP. I think he just lets himself get staggered here.
Birdring needs to get out. Just alive. 22 HP. No.
The crowd cheers for that. It's actually not that big a deal. Matt's like, oh, but it's like, yeah, I mean, it's just a stagger kill, but...
Tactical crouch, of course.
Yes, it would be misogynistic. You can't say that shit. I can't. Even though I would, even that's my humor, right? My kind of crass humor. It's not suitable for broadcast.
You still have Transcendence for the London Spitfire, but time not in their side, Mitch.
You say home crowd, but there are a lot of Spitfire fans in that audience. Well, it's fine. The crowd can cheer for what they want. Of course they can. But, like, I need to make sure I don't build off that like it's something, like it's a big deal.
15 to go. Again, it's tough to make good use of a Transcendence here. Especially if you're dead. That's not ideal.
I was trying to make a point about Transcendence being used on high and low ground. You can't kind of heal both levels, but, Bedosin died.
Bedosin should get resurrected by Nust, theoretically.
Crazy X. That would be a good way to put it.
Jake is in a position where he can just spam his body, so you're not going to be able to get back there safely. You're going to have to wait for Bedosin, and this opens up an opportunity where Houston, they pick up one more player, and they're able to just get a huge advantage.
They're going to go anyway, Matt. They've no time to wait. Jake getting taken very low. Banny keeping him healed up. Look at how diligent Banny has been in keeping Jake and Co.
Hey, I found diligent. The word I was looking for last map.
Nice and topped up. Once again, Jake, though, getting...
Crazy X would have been the correct answer in Conspicuous Orange, yeah.
Slapped around the place, and this time, Bedosin was there to follow up on the work that was done by Gesture. Just getting in there, of course. Primer Rage.
And maybe that's a side of my internalized misogyny that my first thought was to say ex-girlfriend, but I actually had that happen to me before, so maybe that's why. Maybe that is because it's my lived experience.
The job. Muma has to drop down now. That Fortify's going to wear off. He's going to be just as vulnerable as his teammates, and he's down. Cool, Matt.
I thought it was dumb how Prophet got fined for his middle finger and then it was used on watch point and it seems funny. Okay. So here's the thing, right? Prophet didn't get fined, Jack did. You can't flip off the camera. Like, based on the rules, like, it breaks the rules. But we're not gonna roll around and be like, it's so egregious that this guy flipped off the camera. It's so terrible. It's like, we have to fine him. It's a rule. But we all know that while it is a rule and as per contract, we have to fine him, we're not going to pretend that it's a huge big deal, right? We're all adults here, and we can have a laugh about it. And Prophet is fine. He didn't pay the money. He's all good. We're sitting back and we're like, I'm Australian. That's how we say hello to people. Like, who cares? So it's not really a double standard. That we have to find him. We have to, because we can't allow there to be a precedent of gestures like that being used on camera. But we also acknowledge that he didn't do it on purpose. He didn't know that people were watching him. But we still have to find him because it went to air. He did something that is not permitted to be done. But we all know, we tacitly and in fact outwardly acknowledge that shit happens. It's a bit of humor, and haha. So we're not like. well, you want me to sit in my chair and tell you that it's terrible and you should never flip anyone off? I can't even do that with a straight face. I'm fucking Australian, mate. Like, if it's like, it's basically, you got one of two things, right? This is the two options here. You get either we don't fine him, despite him behaving in a way that is against the regulations of the Overwatch League. We don't fine him for this. And we set a precedent now for people that actually do things on camera that purposely should not be done, but then we can't find them because we set a precedent, right? Or we sit on the couch on Watchpoint and pretend like it's a big deal. We sit on the couch and go, this is terrible. He should always be fined for this every time. Lighten up. The kid didn't pay the fine. He went on and played and was one of the best players in the split. I'm not having a go at you, by the way, bro. I don't want you to think that like my vehemence here is aimed at you directly, but I've seen this brought up before. It's like, as per we have to stick to the rules, because if we start just like bending rules and not finding people, then the whole integrity of it goes out the window. But we also acknowledge that it just happens. You know, who cares? No kids were mentally scarred by their parents, right? I tell you what, those parents on Reddit saying their kids are scarred, no, their kids are scarred because you guys are throwing your bloody plates at each other in the kitchen and arguing about, who's gonna, his long business trip or her penchant for buying expensive handbags. Like, there are much worse things that parents who aren't perfect will impose on their kids and sing a rude finger. Come on. I'm not mad at anyone.
Mini D perform, no dice and a Spitfire now, or at least on the road here. But they've been cost about 4 minutes trying to get the first point.
Yeah, they're able to pick up 2 kills there, London, at the beginning. They take Jake out, a lot of that damage not on the table for Houston. Then they get robbed.
Yeah, people literally get off on being a Fender these days. It's just boring. It's so fucking boring. So boring. Anyway.
Marcus, they're able to just use a Primal Rage from Gesture to finish off some players. They knock Body all the way back to pretty much point B. London, they're going to have Valkyrie here, and they're going to have Blade. Maybe they can turn this into something.
Matt's talking about ultimate seeds to set up.
Spitfire now.
So again, there's Cool Matt. There's Cool Matt. Doing his thing. Look at the rest of his team. This guy he's ballsy.
Always the first responder. He actually gets a lot of free damage into Fury and causes...
Yeah, that's pretty funny. Like, so Cool Matt didn't kill anyone. But he got Fury on a half HP. Look at Gesture, by the way. So by peeking, he not only gets information, but he also gets damage that slows the Spitfire down because they've got to wait for their players to be healed up.
They have to pause. Gesture also taking damage from left and right. The Outlaws are springing.
I don't review VOD with Monty, no. He does that in his own time. And I don't think he does it publicly. It's just the way he wants to do it. I just do this for a bit of fun, to hang out, and also to maybe give you guys some background into what we do or why we do what we do.
Forth from the main temple and getting some poke damage and then just backing away safely. Prophet, though, I think he's going to commit to this one. Banny in his sights. Does have a Harmony Orb on him. And the Reptile claims too. Nuts is trying to salvage the situation. Quickly reses both Prophet and Gesture, but they've lost Fury Spec in the meantime. The Dragonblade is going to have to go for it. No choice. Jake's down. Looking for Cool Matt now. He's got him. Surely Linkster, though, responds with a pulse bomb.
Oh, I got Cool Matt.
But Prophet's not done yet. He'll be up on the point. Moominau as well, looking quite healthy, and Rourke is looking like a snack for Prophet to eat up. It's got to be the...
Okay, so the casting there wasn't too bad. I said as well a couple times, or I didn't want to put there. I said Raucus looking like a schnack. Obviously, but he was obviously the ideal target for Prophet, and Prophet is loving life because he's forced the Transcendence. So
Transcendence.
He's happy.
Prophet's getting
He
out of
just
there.
gets
He's done his job. He's forced that ultimate. Time to call it a day.
You will have your own Transcendence.
The fact that Banny dies there is pretty big, but I don't think there's any... They could actually go on this. I don't know what Bedring is doing right now. I mean, that would have been nice to capture on camera, but you just saw Prophet force out the Transcendence, so why are you switching? Yeah, it's fine.
As well for London. Coming back in, they do get bodies.
Okay, now it's over.
I thought they were going to try and
Oh, no, it's not. Okay, it's London.
Gesture wants to go.
I mean, like, it's reasonable for Gesture to want to go in. Banny's back now with Valkyrie, so the timing's probably not going to favour the Spitfire greatly here, and now Prophet's just fallen.
And he's got Fury and Murdering there with him.
Okay, they want this first kick. Gesture backs away now. Transcendence forced by Moomin. Nice work, but he needs to make sure he gets out alive himself. He wants to go for even more, though. He might have to give his life up. Primal Rage was used, and Cool Matt is also looking worse.
So again, I'm like saying that I'm trying to explain the act and the risk involved there for Mume. He wants to go for more, but he has to use a Primal Rage to make sure he's got the HP that he doesn't get staggered by by London. So again, when there's a play happening, what is the context is important. The context and consequences, especially with play-by-play, it's really important to add these into your casting. So Mooma's diving, but where is he diving and why? What's provoked this? He wants to go for more. I said that he wants to try and get a bit more of a stagger. What are the consequences? Well, sometimes they happen later, but you can speculate. You can say, if he dies here, he's going to be in deep trouble. He needs to get himself back out of this fight, or he needs to use Primal Rage in order to stay alive. So there's cause and effect. There's profit and there's loss, excuse the pun, associated with all these behaviors. And if you can weave them into your casting as a play-by-play caster, then you're giving the audience just a bit more than just saying what they can already sort of see on the screen. People think that's what play-by-play casting is about, but casters that read the kill feed and sort of just read the screen are not going to be considered top casters, and there's a lot more to it.
Beware, but it's okay for the Outlaws because Lynx has managed to remove Birdring from the situation. Chase here on towards Moomer and he's down. Finally, this is such a scrap fest here. Looks like the Spitfire don't want to give up these pushes halfway through. And the Outlaws are more than happy to meet them in the middle.
And I think,
I just explained that the Spitfire, we saw Jester dive in even after they'd lost Birdring, I think, in that fight, because they'd picked off Banny just prior. Now, the fight didn't work, but they still forced the Transcendence from Raucus, who, by the way, in one fight, is back up to 64%.
Houston is being so...
I see this view, what you're seeing, so I see what the viewers see. We also have a screen that has a top-down map view, but I have to watch this screen. So I see exactly what you see. I see the same thing. I mean, yeah, it was a good dry fight. I mean, London just pressured them and didn't spend any ultimates. That's how you played 2CP.
Aggressive right now. London wants to punish it. They're going to have Prophet play Reaper, and Birdring is going to play Junkrat. So a lot of damage. If you want to get aggressive, movement, cool, Matt, we are going to deal with you with all of our damage coming in through the front.
This is what I like to call a cactus composition, Matt. They're prickly. You don't want to get too close to London Spitfire, otherwise you'll be regretting it. Now,
so yeah, cactus composition. I literally made that up at the time because it occurred to me that this is a decent analogy or a metaphor to use. It's like a cactus. You're not going to hug a cactus, are you? Like it has a self-defense mechanism built in there. So if you get too close, you're going to get stung by it. And I say this because London has a composition that actively deters dive or aggression. Now, it's not a terrible comp to be used for the Outlaws because they're not really diving too hard. It's just Linkser. But again, you've got a Junkrat who can, first of all, displace you if you try and dive. He can trap you up. Prophet wants you to be in his face anyway. And obviously you got a Zenyatta with Discord Orb. So it's a cactus comp. So I hope maybe that one will stick. Just that one was on the fly. So I didn't make that one up. Obviously, you can't make the stuff up. But I'm happy with it because it makes sense. And it immediately gives you an image of what this is. That's why metaphors are so powerful, because you can give context and you can give a mental image of something to a viewer very quickly. So this is why I maybe seem like I lean too much on metaphors, because if I can draw parallels between real life things, or it gives maybe a quicker understanding to the viewer of what something is supposed to do, and maybe it's more visceral interpretation. I don't watch XQC very much, Dagio, so I wouldn't know. I mean, it's possible that two people invent things, but I don't know if Orisa... I mean, Cactus... Yeah, maybe. I don't know. But honestly, I didn't get that from him. Although I do know he sits in his Discord and watches while Overwatch League happens, so maybe he got it from me, but I don't know. But the point is I came to this one independently, at least, regardless whether he's come up with that or not.
slow but protected by some big and bulky body.
There it is. It says a lot in few words, Shambolic. That's my point, because I use a lot of words, and sometimes I don't say much. So if I can say a lot in very little, that's like the nirvana of casting.
Of his tank line. Linkser doesn't want to burn his recall yet, but he has to. He just took too much damage there, and now Moom is down. Prophet's got himself embedded deep in enemy territory, and Birdring to move Linkser with the...
So he's got himself embedded deep in enemy territory. I think about word economy all the time, but I don't have much time to think during cast, so I just have to hope that my instinct and my training takes over, and I can focus on word economy.
Trap! Linkser's been running around trying to get HP, and he gets picked up. Valkyrie, though, for Banny. Linkser's back. Self-destruct there for Coolmat, allowing him to get the mech again. Bit of a long-range Junkrat off there. Doesn't work out as gesture.
I didn't have a word. I said Junkrat off. It's terrible. A long-range Junkrat off. If I had... yeah. That was a failure, I guess. Like, where the Cactus comp was a good thinking on the spot, that was a not great thinking on the spot. Dahun, what's up, man? I am reviewing my casting, man. I'm just about to wrap up.
Just crashes the party and Jake is removing Profit. Oh dear, he's got the Death Blossom. This could be nasty. Lisa needs to respect this, as does Cool Matt.
So I'm actually throwing to Matt. I'm throwing to Matt there. I said Linksa has to respect this, as does Cool Matt. I've done a lot of casting. Yeah, Junkrat standoff would have been good. I mean, it's super easy here, right, in hindsight, to look at things that I could have said. It's, I mean, it's impossible to do it, though, in the moment.
It'll be Transcendence that comes out for Raucus. Raucus knows he's in trouble. He's like, I'm going back the other way. He's like, not going to get anything with that Transcendence. As
See you, Pesto.
Gets their second tick. Bird Ring takes out Linkser. Now the point is contested. Muma standing here with Ryan. Not going to do much.
So Matt knows that there's still some fight to go, and he's going to throw it back to me and let me have a bit of fun with it.
Profit now wants to deal with Muma. Gets him there. It's just a one melee attack. The Spitfire now well. Now it's time for the Death Blossom, and Benny gets absolutely removed, deleted from the game. Cool Matt trying to stay alive again. Evasive maneuvers. It's hard to watch, I know, but Cool Matt has a plan. Trying to drag this one out as long as possible, but the Spitfire will take it off. Keep your tray tables up. Your seats in an upright position to keep those seat belts fastened.
What am I saying?
They're far from done, and that's a better performance on an Uber.
I mean, you know, when you're thinking about planes, you just got to go with it. So much of our casting is just trying to follow my heart, I guess, without making it sound too cheesy. Okay, Mitch, whatever. Keep your fucking trays up. Yeah. Hey, it's fun though, right? It's fun, you know. It's not. I'm not taking myself seriously. I'm not taking any of this sort of stuff seriously. It's just, you know, I've got plane metaphors in there. You know, people want me to do fish metaphors when Carpe's playing. I'll do my best to try and do that as well. But, yeah. Okay. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to fill up my water bottle, and I'm going to come back, and we're going to do some AMA for 10 minutes or so. I've got to cook food tonight, right? So I've sort of, I don't have a lot of time left. But yeah, let me do that. I'll be back in just a second. Let me fill up my water, because otherwise I'm going to get